I shouldn't be able to hear a sound like that. Oh, the fuck was that, man? I mean, I know it was something hitting metal, but what the fuck was that? I love wasting my time, so yeah, my God. Yes, I got another one. So two videos, two joints, two joints, two videos. I don't fucking know. So how am I gonna do this with the? Oh, I was supposed to try and do something with the music first, and I didn't. No, I didn't. So I'm gonna have to do this. Oh, it's gonna take a fucking second.
You wouldn't do any, I'm not a fan of you, but you be looking too friendly. Smack the fool from out the back, you try to disrespect me. I will tell you that your rent is past due by a few centuries. Fucking statues, fucking new Bentley. We've been hungry on.
But I can't get to the track I wanted to get to, so I don't fucking get this shit.
Disrespectful whenever I lift the pencil. I'm hoping the shit offends you. I'm fisting lesbian bitches while spitting on instrumentals. You get the picture, I'm the sickest indigenous bitter ever living. Never been the percentage of pussy in me. My family is legendary. Residential school survivors, persistence is necessary. Tried to kill us, you couldn't do it. We're invincible, it's hereditary. And by the looks of you, you wouldn't do any. I'm not a fan of you, but you be looking too friendly. Smack the fool from out the back, and you tried to disrespect me. I will tell you that your rent is past due by a few centuries. Fucking statues, fucking new Bentley. We've been hungry on the rest, trying to make our 4 cents, but we short 2 pennies. Yeah, my mood is edgy, I'm hungry. Somebody told me that my food was ready. Yo, who the fuck do? Disrespectful whenever I lift the pencil. I'm hoping the shit offends you. I'm fisting lesbian bitches while spitting on instrumentals. You get the picture, I'm the sickest indigenous bitter ever living. Never been the percentage of pussy in me. My family is legendary. Residential school survivors, persistence is necessary. Tried to kill us, you couldn't do it. We're invincible, it's hereditary. And by the looks of you, you wouldn't do any. I'm not a fan of you, but you be looking too friendly. Smack the fool from out the back, you tried to disrespect.
Not like all the other tracks.
I will tell you that your rent is past due by a few centuries. Fucking statues, fucking new Bentley. We've been hungry on the rest, trying to make our 4 cents, but we short 2 pennies.
2 pennies.
Yeah, my mood is edgy, I'm hungry. Somebody told me that my food was ready. Yo, who the fuck do I got a Bluetooth that I shoot too deadly? Since I'm papoose, I've been cuckoo. Who you wanna push? I move too steady. It's that boom bap flow. Call me Clues Cap Kenny. It's that Tupac and Sitting Bull in a room full of bitches in the nude sipping Henny. I've been in the woods with my do-rag sweating. I got my moose cat ready. I'm out here hunting in this bitch. I do that heavy, and if you ain't from the res, there ain't nothing you can tell me. I got the screw loose, but you knew that already. Got to get that dough like I used to at daycare. Fuck trying to play fair. I can just construct another way to make my paper. I'm getting great at my craft. I've been amazing at rap since 97 and 87. I got arrived. I told my homie that we would make it before we die, and then I lost him to suicide. It was a shock to my body, but I'm alright. I made him a promise that we would be the greatest that ever did it. So tonight, all you motherfuckers, I gotta die. I'm hoping these above, watching the bodies that I've been piling up. This is survival of the fittest. I'm conditioned for anything. Native overqualified. Try and play me, I'm like Muhammad Ali in his prime. You sleep on me or dream of beating me, you better fucking wake up and apologize. Wanna whip me, you can holler on or off the mic. I'm a product of the Wabanaki tribe. I cannot be copied, I am one of one. I don't think you want a problem with me, son. Get the skinning and the scalping and I'm done. No emotion on my face, not even one. I'm the chief of these lands here. Tell Anna Green Gables she needs a pap smear. Killed the damn deer with my fucking bare hands last year. This is res life living. Get some liquor and get stabbed here.
We'll play. I'm forcibly removed. I'm an internally displaced person. They did it generation by generation. Well, you get your status quo. Now you have to get off the res. Now you have to live in this neighborhood. Now you have to leave the province. I get born here, so. But they want me to forget that my land is over there. I know it's there. You can look at it on Google fucking Maps. My name is on it. So I know it's there. Oh shit. Oh, I'm talking because the music's done. Let's see if I can do this with every fucking thing up. If I can do it in about 15 seconds. Someone else has to fuck down, shut the fuck up. Get the gas mask, let me gas mask.
Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Lucky wow, it's everlasting. Egocious, I brag the mostest, cause I spit it hotter than toasters. Check my name out on all the posters. When I hit the stage, drinks hit the coasters. Women packed all the way to the third row. We ain't in the strip club, but call it perv row. I don't know what you heard, ho. I'ma tell you straight, baby, I'm a surf pro. Running game like a pimp, bitch. Yeah, I'm running game with a limp, bitch. The big dog gonna teach you some tricks, bitch. Get out there, catch a date and stack my chips, bitch. You can gas mask, you can gas mask. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be wild, music's everlasting. The future, track bruisers. Caught the beat in the back of the cruiser. Fuck the game up, Kama Sutra. In my Red Rover, I will run right through ya. Growl on the mic like a beast should. Go hard on the beat to Clint Eastwood. Walk on water, everybody knew he would. Written in the scriptures, scholars knew he could. On my own, Julius Caesar. Take away my world, I only need her. What you coming? Only wanna be heard. The Phoenix shall rise upon my return. Get the gas mask when we spark that.
How much was it?
I think we parked that.
The gas mask, let me pass that. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be wild, music's everlasting. Get the gas mask, let me pass that. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be wild, music's everlasting.
I go Coco, so loco.
Loco,
No popo, yeah, don't know. I'm so pro, go so slow in a low, twisting like Toto. Oh no, throwing game like Tony Romo. Even the G's love me, no homo. With the crew, that's a no-no. I'm hydro when I flow. When I flow, it's tidal. Search the beat, watch my roll. Grab the mic, kick hard like Tybo.
Gas mask, let me pass that. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be wild, music's everlasting. Gas mask, let me pass that. Funky rappers, where your ass at? You went last week, enjoy the past week. Must be wild, music's everlasting.
That's it? Damn it. Okay, I don't know what comes up next. Shit. Oh, this weird shit. I mean, maybe it's okay, but I don't. See, I haven't listened past the first 10 seconds, and I'm not sure why I put it on my fucking playlist. It might have got on there by accident. I'm not sure.
Points. The price of oil higher by 22 cents. It's $51.39 a barrel right now. The price of gold is higher
Right
by
now.
$8 to $15.79 the ounce, but we're looking at a lower Canadian dollar so far today. It's off by 4
We'll come back in 10
100
minutes
to
at $52.
75.43 cents US. Tesla has issued a recall for its Model X after finding out road salt can cause excessive corrosion on a power steering motor bolt. The models affected are any of them built between mid-October of 2016 and about a month later. The problem is said to be worse for any vehicle that operates in colder climates. Tesla
Oh, yeah,
has
no
revealed the
shit,
total
stupid,
number
because
of
everybody
vehicles
uses
affected
salt.
by the recall, but the production time frame suggests it's likely not a large number. Shares in Tesla today are higher by 2.5%.
I see these goddamn things all over with a G license plate. The license plate starts with a G and is green and shit. Green letters.
Campbell, host of the Art
This
of
is a
Boring
green
podcast
vehicle.
at Moore
Okay,
Investment
thank you. It's
Management.
green.
This is
The
the podcast
cars
where
should
we
fucking be
dive
painted
deeper
green.
into Moore's investment philosophy and thinking
It says
in order to
green.
make you,
And the
our
kids,
listeners, more
that's
informed
blue.
investors.
You say, no, that's green?
Ultimately,
Like,
we hope
seriously?
to connect you with the people at Moore who find excitement in Be Boring, Make Money. Some of the topics we've recently covered on the Art of Boring podcast
dressing
include
new clothes on
the
purpose. Fuck you.
catalysts and implications of
You gonna
negative
do?
interest
Force me to
rates,
dress in brand
the
new
risks
clothes?
and
Why? So someone can
opportunities
wreck
of
them?
investing
Fuck
within
off.
Canada, and how to see through the soup of daily noise versus taking a longer-term approach. So if you're passionate about investing and want to hear more about the Be Boring,
Soup.
Make Money investment philosophy, visit more.com. And yes, that's MAWER.com, or wherever you download your podcasts to discover the art of boring.
The art of... Dude, you put too much work into it.
Taking a look now at some regional weather conditions out in Brampton. Still have some lingering flurries in -2. If you're heading towards the Tri-Cities, though, Kitchener, Cambridge, and Waterloo, it's overcast in -1. In Markham, mostly cloudy this hour at -2 degrees. And in Oshawa, mostly cloudy and 0. Right now in downtown Toronto, it's
probably high
overcast
as
and
fuck
0,
when I
but
put
feels
that
more
truck
like
on there or something.
-4 when you factor in the wind. Need to Super Sad Singh is the midday show editor. Zahir Hashimi
I don't
is our
dislike
digital
either.
editor.
Just haven't-
680 News Time.
I don't recall listening
11:30.
to it.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Barrett and Steve Roberts.
Hit me up.
Good morning. It's Thursday, February 13th.
And good morning. Here's what's making news this hour.
Probably true.
The TTC says the maintenance vehicle that partially derailed this morning is now
Partially.
back on the rails,
Partially.
but there's still no subway service on Line 1 between
It
St.
partially
Clair
derailed.
West
It
and
didn't
Union
derail.
Station.
Like, it's not all on the rails. It's all on the rails, or it's not rails. It's no longer a railed vehicle. It's a derailed,
Three of them
derailed
hospitalized as
vehicle.
China reports a big spike in the number of cases with a new testing system. In an effort to end the anti-pipeline rail
New testing
blockades, the
system.
Federal
Do they have the
Indigenous
damn virus
Services
or not?
Minister
We
has
don't know.
offered to meet with Mohawk chiefs to discuss their concerns.
Hey, police have their number 1 back. Freddie Anderson says he's good to go against Dallas tonight. The Astros
Astro, a
say
water
sorry.
balloon.
Sports at 45.
Okay, I
Jeff
guess I can't do it.
Bezos
It's
makes
just
a splash
-20,
worth
right?
millions in LA real estate, while the Thursday trade continues to see modest losses on
It was
both
warm
sides of
water.
the
I
border.
could throw a water
Business coming
balloon,
up
right?
at 56.
That's an assault with a weapon,
News
though.
11:31.
Time for traffic and weather together all the ones. Here's Eva
You
Fresh
think I'm fucking
Scatters.
exaggerating?
This
I
report is brought to
swear
you
it would
by
happen
Home
up
Show
there.
Home Improvement Edition. Eastbound on the Gardner Expressway, we've got some minor delays still as you make your way from Jameson to Dufferin, a bit on the Spadina ramp. Eastbound on the 401, you'll still find that route moving slowly from Winston Churchill now all the way through to Mavis, and then eastbound 401 slows down again from Dixon towards Weston, mainly in the Express. If you're looking at the westbound side of the 401, no major issues through there. It looks to be in decent shape. Southbound Dufferin at Finch, we've got the center lane now blocked. That's all because of a collision. The GTA Home and Reno Show has renovated, so don't miss the new Home Show Home Improvement Edition, February 14th to 17th at the International Center in Mississauga, presented by RE/MAX. Next report is at 11:41. Here's a check on the forecast now with Carl Lamb.
And it is really not too bad right now, but once that cold front moves through, it brings in a lot of cold air trapped up north, but it's slowly approaching. And by the afternoon, temperatures are really going to be quite cold. By the end of your evening commute, I think we're going to be around -10. So that's what you have to prepare for. We're dropping to -20 tonight. That's our overnight low. Wind chills will easily be in the -20 to -30 range from the late evening into the overnight, and bundle up because it's going to be really cold. Frostbite can set in as little as 10 minutes if you're exposed to that cold air for a long time. Right now it's 0 at Pearson +1 at 680.
Yeah, you'll have permanent fucking damaged tissue that will be dead that has to be surgically removed after 10 minutes. You can't stand out there for 60. So they're talking about like I could say standing naked, but like any part of your body. So you walk out there with your arms out. -20 straight, and minus, it's going to be -30 wind chill.
Service will resume between
You're not going
St.
to
Clair
stand out
West
there
and
60
Union
seconds.
Station.
You're not going to hold your arm out for 60 seconds unless you're drunk the fuck up. Whiskey or vodka.
There's no service underground,
You're not gonna
Steve.
do
So
it.
that means here above ground at the corner of right outside of St. George
Tequila
Station,
and
people
rum
are
makes
still
you
trying to
think
hop
better. You
on
go back inside.
these shuttle buses, and TTC
This is
staff
my
are trying to help them
experience.
out to figure out where to go.
Southbound shuttle to St. Andrews Subway Station across the street.
I don't know how I get fucked up on whiskey.
There's still lots of people who
Like
are
old
trying
man
to make their
gentleman.
way to work, to school, to their appointments for the day, to try to get where they're going, frustrated by what has been happening, but trying to remain calm.
It is a little frustrating. I don't think anyone should really take it out on the people just trying to do their job. So It is frustrating, but it's better to just get there alive.
Go easy on people on the ground floor.
What?
Exactly, yeah.
I think my friend's kids both went
This
over on
partial
it.
derailment, this is the second time we've had a partial derailment in just the last few
are
weeks
we
on the
talking
TTC. You may remember what happened on line 2 just last month. At that time, the TTC said partial derailments are a very rare thing, and if they hadn't had one in several years, now we've had one in just a few weeks. So it'll be interesting to see what the TTC
It's not
has to say
exposed, for the
once
most part, not
service
exposed
does
to the
eventually get back
elements
up and
or
running.
anything. How the
We're
fuck does
pretty
something
live.
bad happen to those tracks? It's all in a tunnel.
This time,
You don't have
11:34. The
cars
provincial
driving on it
government
or
has
something
held
to
its
fuck it up. And
bi-weekly
there's nothing
update
like
on
that.
COVID-19, and it comes as the number of cases
All the
in
rails
China
are set on concrete
continues to
pads.
climb
It doesn't settle in.
exponentially.
It
And we're
shouldn't
also
settle
hearing
in
today
sync.
that a dozen Canadians
unevenly.
are confirmed to be sick on board a cruise ship in Japan. 680's Alex Bloomfield is following all the latest developments and joins us live with more. Alex.
Yes, they're a communicable disease expert, Dr. Barbara Yathia, providing the latest COVID-19 numbers in Ontario as of 8 a.m. this morning.
15 are currently under investigation, and we have 2 confirmed positives and another one that has resolved.
It's the same numbers as we had yesterday. The 2 remaining
Died
patients, the married couple from
or
the GTA, who are now
Is not
considered
sick.
clinically
Resolved. They're
recovered.
not sick
Largely
anymore. They
clear
were sick.
symptoms for the virus
They
still
died.
found in their samples. Meantime, in Japan,
Resolved.
the situation getting worse on a cruise ship.
I want that on my
44 new
tombstone.
cases, the total now
Resolved.
over 200 from that ship, including 12 Canadians. Foreign Affairs Minister Francois Philippe
And then
Champagne
in quotes,
speaking to
no
reporters
response.
moments ago in Senegal, saying 3 Canadians have been hospitalized and they are monitoring the situation closely.
We know that there's some people who need, medications on board. They want to have contact with their family. We're facilitating that. We have 2 emergency response team in Yokohama.
He says his consular officials are also monitoring
Yeah,
another
I'm a
situation
dumbass.
with the cruise ship off the coast of
Really.
Cambodia now, with over
My IQ's
250
high, but
Canadians
I'm
on
dumb.
board, but no
Don't
one
get me wrong.
has tested positive yet on that ship. China announcing a spike in cases late last night, saying there are now over 1,300 deaths and well over 48,000 cases. However, officials
48.
here in Ontario in that latest update saying they aren't too concerned about that spike, saying it's mainly due to the change in testing methodology, using CT scans instead of lab tests, which is a lot quicker and also potentially
what?
not as accurate. So we're just
CT
waiting to hear
scans
more over the
are
coming days.
ionized
Reporting live
radiation.
from Alex Bloomfield.
Which if I had known, I probably would have gone
Tokyo
for it.
Olympic organizers say they are reiterating their message again today that the 2020 games will not be affected in
If I
any
thought more
way
of it, I
by
should say.
COVID-19 that continues to spread from neighboring China.
I keep repeating what President Bach has said on several occasions, that he's never seen an Olympic city being so well prepared, and obviously I have to agree with him. With that, we have to also make sure that we're not being complacent.
That's IOC member John Coates. Now the Olympics open in just over 5 months.
Well, light snow continues to fall throughout the GTA, but as that snow moves out, it's the cold we need to worry about. Here's our Jamie Pulfer. Up to 5 centimeters of snow possible today. That means salt trucks are out dealing with the situation. Wet roads ahead of this drastic drop in temperature.
Just be in the cold. Be in the cold.
We're in it. Toronto's medical officer of health has now issued an extreme cold weather alert ahead of the most intense cold of the season so far, according to City News weather specialist Frank Ferragini.
So we get out of the snow, we get into clear skies, but then we're into cold, real cold. Risk of frostbite tomorrow morning.
The timeline has the temperature plunging around lunchtime. It's going to feel like minus double digits. And then when you wake up on Valentine's Day tomorrow morning, a wind chill close to minus 30. By Saturday, the
fuckers.
cold will lose some of that porosity, which is great news for the family day long weekend. I'm Jamie Pulfer.
Well, after calls for the federal government to step in, the Trudeau Liberals are now taking steps to try and end the anti-pipeline rail blockades. The federal Indigenous Services Minister has written a letter to the chief and regional
Shipping
chief in the
steel
Mohawk
pipe
territory
to the
of
locations
Tyendinaga
and
near Belleville, Ontario.
bring it
He's
all back
offered a
out
meeting
again.
this Saturday to discuss their concerns.
Just
And in
tell us we
return,
can have it
he
and we'll take it
requests
to
they
scrap
cease
or
their
some shit,
blockade of the
because
CN rail
that would
line.
resolve
As
it.
the minister awaits a response, Ryan Greer with the Canadian Chamber of Commerce
I think
tells
that
me
pipeline
these
disappeared. It'll take
demonstrations
me a
are
while.
having
I
a
think the
severe economic
whole
impact.
pipeline disappeared.
Our rail lines are the circulatory system of the economy. These lines move hundreds of billions of dollars in goods every year.
It's up to provinces and law enforcement to enforce court injunctions against
If you piss on
demonstrations,
that
and
pipe,
police
it'll
have had a
rust.
presence around these blockades. Meanwhile, a new poll from the Angus Reid Institute finds just over 50% of Canadians are in support of the pipeline, while 2 in 5 support the protesters. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Well,
40%.
Valentine's
2
Day
and 5.
is tomorrow, but not everyone
2
is
out of
excited
5.
for
Hey,
romance. If you're
I've
looking
had
at
fucking
that,
situations come up. There's 10 people there. I can't get 4 people to back
may
me
have
up.
just the solution.
Holy
The
fuck,
Zoo's
that's not
director,
bad.
Joe Montesanto, has more on their Quit Bugging Me fundraiser.
Give us a name of someone that's bugging you. It could be an ex-spouse, a boss, anybody really. And then we assign it to a cockroach, which then gets fed to our animal.
What?
Montesanto adds for every $1,000 raised, he'll eat a cockroach himself.
No, I don't want you to eat a bug. I want you to go buy.
That
What?
means he's eaten 9 of them.
Wow. Yeah, so...
Where's PETA on this? Are insects animals?
After a cockroach here.
Time to move on. No,
Only
I
like
think we're
honeybees and
fine
ants,
if you're
right?
that bitter about it.
It's not fire ants.
Coming up in 30 seconds, we'll check city streets and the price of gas.
680 news time, 11:39.
There are lots of ways to treat your cold symptoms.
So I'm dumb as
You can
fuck.
carry around a spoon and syrup.
And I figured out how to make this stupid thing on your TV screen right now work, right? Or your phone, or whatever the fuck you're implanted. Your eyeglasses, because Apple said in 10 years we're all going to have eyeglasses. Not eyeglasses. The letter I. I paid $2,000 for one eye to have surgery. I don't want the other one done, but it would cost another $2,000. I'm not spending $2,000 for glasses,
All
motherfucker.
city streets right now, southbound Dufferin at Finch, the center lane is blocked. with a
Why are all
collision.
these leaders
And
traveling
Bayview
everywhere
from
right now?
River to Lauren Harris
Why
remains
are we
closed, all through to that
evacuating
broken
people from?
water
It's a
main.
quarantine zone. You should stay there.
Don Valley North Toyota, proudly powering
Okay.
the 680 News
Canada
Truck
has some
Cruiser.
trouble dealing
Don
with the
Valley
fact
North
that some of these
Toyota,
people are
50
popping up
vehicles
sick.
inside, even more
They test
outside,
negative, then they
and
test
one
positive.
just right
That's
for
a
you.
serious
Steals
problem.
just
We
east
have
of
a
the
good healthcare
404.
system. Even a
Now the
full-blown
680 News
epidemic,
gas
we could
price
probably handle.
update. Enpro predicts
Most
the
of these other
price will
countries don't
jump
have that.
3 cents at midnight
Why
to
aren't
about
they using the
12.9 cents
stupid
a
video
liter.
cameras
680
and
news
shit
time, 11:40.
that we use for video appearances in court? They don't truck us from jail to court every fucking time anymore. If all your stories are like, I'll give you a little tip. If all the stories somebody tells you, they're going from jail to court or whatever, like, that's only very few appearances, and they probably made bail every fucking time. You might get 2 appearances in a few days. If you make bail the second time,
Due to overwhelming response,
you're never
Orlando
going to do this video
Lighting's
appearance.
clean sale has been extended. That's right.
guys that do
Orlando Lighting is making some
bedtime,
changes and starting fresh. They've dramatically reduced the
they're not
prices on their
convicted.
in-stock inventory to make room
They get
for
to stand there, or
exciting
they get to
new
take turns.
arrivals. And guess
It looks
what?
Soviet.
The arrivals are
I
here.
think it's green. I don't
Enjoy
remember.
rent tag savings of up to 50%.
Sure why. Maybe they have
on all
intentions
indoor
of
and
changing the
outdoor fixtures.
background in case your
Orlando
kids are
Lighting's
recording.
Mother's
There's a
Day
big fucking
clean sale has been
screen
extended. On now.
TV on the wall in court, and there's
210
cameras.
Clarence Street, Brampton.
So apparently they can see you when you're standing there in the
680 news time,
gallery.
11:41.
Time
They
for
don't
traffic
truck
and
us all
weather
over the
together on the
fucking
one.
place.
Here's Eva Francescatos. This report is brought to you by Luxottica. Right now, it is pretty good out
Well, they've
on
been doing
major
that a
routes.
long
We've got
time.
some minor delays eastbound on the Gardner through Jameson and Dufferin. Eastbound on the 401, slow going from east of Winston Churchill to east of Mississauga Road. Then after that looks pretty good. And then we've got a bit of a delay east 401, Kipling to Weston in the express lanes mainly. On the southbound side of the 404 John Valley Parkway, no delays at this time. It looks pretty good. And if you're south on the 400, again, no issues to report through there. Wet on the roadways in some areas still, though, of course. So just drive according to the conditions. We'll hear more on the forecast with Carl Lamb in a minute. And we also still have a problem.
That she wasn't
southbound
telling you and me,
Dufferin
she was
at
telling the
Finch.
other
One lane
people.
is closed off. That is all because of a collision, so expect some delays as you approach that problem. Pearl Vision can help you see clearly and look great with brands you love. Plus,
White
they direct
patches and
bill most
spots.
insurance
White
plans.
patches and
Arrange your
spots.
eye exam at pearlvision.com. Next report is at 11:51. Here's the forecast with Carl Lamb.
Well, there's the snow again. It is in the city. It's also extending back towards Brampton, including areas like Mississauga, back towards Hamilton, Waterdown, and Ancaster, over towards Brantford as well. So it looks like any route that you take that's west of the city, you are going to encounter some snow, and that wind is light, so it's not blowing it around and reducing visibility too much. But it is making it just about 6 kilometers of visibility out at Pearson. So just be mindful of that as you head out onto the roads. Temperatures are going to drop today, and it is going to get really
You see
cold
like
by
2
the
blocks and then the
afternoon.
road
That cold
curve.
front
Like, what do you
moves
mean?
through,
6
takes us down to
kilometers.
-10 for the end of your evening commute, -20 overnight. Those wind chills in dangerous ranges tonight. -27 is what it will feel like. And then tomorrow, sunshine, -9 will be the high temperature for your Valentine's Day. And Family
they
Day
already
long
said it
weekend
twice.
looks dry during the day, and it looks like we have a little bit of snow each evening. Right now, it is 0 at Pearson, +1 at 680 News, and today's guaranteed high +1.
680 News time,
Listen, it's going to be
11:43.
20
Now
straight.
let's go to I Trade Market Minute, live from the Business Center.
Minus 20
Here's Stuart
straight.
McGinn.
Is there a bit of a kickback for
At
May
that
and Wall Street
temperature,
after starting
if the wind picks up at all, if you take your glove off for a second, you're going to feel -30 or worse.
The Dow only lower by 82.
God forbid your hand get wet or something. Spill your coffee. Your coffee's boiling hot. You go, oh, fuck.
And
You
now
go,
we have
oh,
the
fuck.
Nasdaq in
And you're
positive
like,
territory, up 2 points, 9,727. What remains lower is the Canadian
piss
dollar,
outside in
down
this
by
weather.
4/100ths of a cent right now to 75.43 cents US. Gold's up $6.60 to 15.78 the ounce, and oil's up by 20 cents a barrel to 51.37. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart McGinn.
Supposedly
Direct invest with
$9.75 an ounce.
Scotia iTrade. Get up to $1,500
It
cash
was like
and $6.99 pricing, or up to
80,
500 free equity
high
trades.
80, like
Details
like
at
slightly under 900.
scotiaitrade.com/winter20.
Okay, stop.
Not a bad
The
buy.
best appliance deal ever is still
There's
on
a
at
lot
Goldman's.
more,
You'll
there's-
save up to
It's
$500
supposed to be
on
something like,
all Eagle
I might have these numbers
appliances.
wrong.
Yep, that's
There's
$500
a 100-to-1
on top
ratio
of
of how much gold there is to how much
manufacturer rebates and
platinum there
promotions.
is
Pricing
floating
on
around the
most
world.
dishwashers are lower than,
Supposedly.
well, they've ever been. Energy savings rebate by the Government of Canada. Check out Bosch at Goldmans.com.
It's that time of year. Auto show
I don't
season.
particularly
That
like
means
gold.
big events, big
I do
announcements.
like silver and platinum. I'm having a problem with silver, platinum, and white gold.
The 2019 Nissan Qashqai or Kicks and get up to
I see
3
someone
payments
wearing it.
on
I'm
us,
like,
up
that
to
could be fucking stainless steel,
$1,000
just spray
value.
painted
And
a brick. Yeah, I'm not
4
sure,
years
right?
of regularly scheduled oil changes also on us. It's kind of a big deal to get a deal this big. Offer
I don't
ends
think I
March
explained that
2nd.
right.
Visit
I don't get it.
choosnissan.ca or your Nissan dealer. Conditions apply. This is All News Radio, 680 News.
Some light snow in downtown
Oh,
Toronto.
shit,
It's
what's
1
going on?
degree. Good morning from the
Unless
680
you're
News
charged,
Broadcast
fuck you.
Center. I'm Sarah Parent.
And I'm Steve Roberts. Here are the top stories right now.
The TTC says the derailed maintenance train that has caused a major shutdown on Line 1 this morning has been put back on the track, but there's still no word on when service will resume between St. Clair West and Union stations. Shuttle buses, they are running through that stretch. The province holding an update today on COVID-19, saying there are no new cases in Ontario, but 15 people are under investigation. The update comes as the situation gets worse on board a cruise ship in Japan, where 12 Canadians are among over 200 people diagnosed with the virus. Meantime, China has announced a major spike
The
in
last
cases.
I was
with more
paying
than
attention, it went from, I
48,000
believe, it was like
infected.
2 to 5 to 7, some shit like
Time
that.
now for 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Andrew Nye.
You talking about the
Sarah
same
Brady
shit? Did this one just
Anderson
fly in out of
is back
nowhere
in
or
the
something?
Listenet tonight when they host the
Except for
Dallas
real,
Stars at
200.
Scotiabank Arena. He's
They're
been
not
in
allowed
since
to
that
go
loss to
within
Florida
6
10
feet of
days
each other.
ago. Game time is 7 o'clock on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and Sportsnet over on 360. The Flyers are in Florida at 7, followed by the Caps and Avalanche at 9:30. An eventful day in West Palm Beach, where the Houston Astros admitted they cheated, but
I don't understand how everybody's having such a hard time with cross-contamination.
is, you know, that
You see
this
some
didn't
clean
impact
people
the
interact
game.
with some dirty people.
We had a good team. We won the World Series, and we'll leave it at that.
there's Houston Astros owner Jim Crane. Crane and the players did say they're sorry, though. In Blue Jays camp, pitchers and catchers got in their first workout. Devin Booker is an all-star. The Suns guard will serve as an injury replacement for Portland's Damian Lillard in Sunday's big game. Happening now in round 1 of the Genesis Invitational at Riviera. Kyung Hoon Lee and Bronson Burgoon share a one-shot lead at 3 under. Top Canadian Roger Sloan is even through 1. Nick Taylor goes out at 3:13 this afternoon. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
How would winning the Lotto Max jackpot change your weekend of gardening? Let's ask Susan.
Forget measly gardens. I grow my own forest.
Okay, but Friday's Lotto Max jackpot is $55 million, plus an estimated 4 max millions. As your dream coach, I say keep growing.
Ooh, with the waterfall. Luxury tree houses for my friends.
That's an advertised piece of property, undeveloped. It has, I think,
Friday's Lotto Max jackpot is $55 million, plus an estimated 4 max millions.
the beginning of a driveway.
Fridays, you can dream to the max.
If I remember correctly, it had some utilities to the property line or some shit. They're all over the some shadow. Remember, so it doesn't matter.
What?
It had never been, the trees had never been cut down. And it was 4 acres for $10,000.
But does your bank give you no-fee checking
All
accounts?
forested.
I like no fees.
Plus
Free.
high interest rates on savings and investments
I like high interest.
and low mortgage rates.
I love low rates.
That's the Duca difference.
Discover the Duca difference for yourself at Duca.com. Duca Credit Union. Do more, be more, achieve more.
680 News Time, 1148.
Now on 680 News, the Today's Parent Report with Ann Lavery. We all want our kids to be independent and self-sufficient, but they need to know certain skills. Today's Parent Editor-in-Chief Kim Shipman has a list of things kids should know how to do by the age of 12. Cooking for themselves. Have your kid practice and perfect one dish at a time until they have a repertoire. Use public transit. Practice with your kid first so they know some basic routes and understand how to read a route map. Keep a calendar. By age 12, your kid should be able to keep track of their own social engagements, field trips, assignments, and even their loved one's own birthdays. Prepared for emergencies. Your kid should be able to locate a first aid kit and maybe even administer some basic first aid. Also use a fire extinguisher and calmly douse a grease fire with the pan's lid or a box of baking soda. And finally, and in cursive, a 12-year-old should be able to sign their own name. With the Today's Parent Report, I'm Ann Lavery.
Shouldn't be that way.
Coming up in 60 seconds,
Maybe
we'll
teach your
check
kid
in
Morse
with
code.
traffic and
In
weather.
case the Japs come back, right? That's what they want you to say.
Faster.
The most traffic in Toronto. 680 News.
This year's hottest term, JOMO, joy of missing out. It's like FOMO, but for people who love their beds, because there ain't no party like a pajama party, am I right?
Right. It's your last chance to head to Sleep Country's year-end model sale. Sleep better with amazing prices on select brand new beds in 2019
Can't
styles,
ask much of a mattress ad. I really can't.
Plus, get a hot price
I know that the way I comment about things sometimes, you would think I would be very pissed off about this ad.
Sleep Country.
It's a fucking mattress company. What do you expect?
Scotiabank focus on small business.
No matter what type of small business you run or plan to run, don't miss the special small business features each weekend now through February on 680 News. Get the keys to success in 2020 with topics covering everything from the importance of making a business plan to branding, technology, and business banking.
Oh, everybody has to admit they're using parts from China,
For
right?
business and a business credit solution, and you can get $100. Certain conditions apply. Talk to a Scotiabank advisor today.
680 News Time, 1151.
Time for traffic and weather together.
China's taking a sick day, and you assholes want them to go back to work. Pay them more.
We've got problems right now, northbound 427, north of Rathburn Express. Second lane from the left, we've got reports of debris through that lane. And then we also have vehicles pulled off onto the right shoulder as well. So tow trucks are on the scene right now. It looks like we've got a couple of MTO crews here as well. Northbound 427, because of this issue, it's quite jammed up from approaching Bloor in the Express all the way through to north of Rathburn, where again, we have some debris across the center lanes and problems on the right shoulder. So definitely stick to the collector lanes through that stretch. You will save yourself a lot of time if you take the collectors instead of the Express. Eastbound 401, it's busy through Mississauga Road. Westbound 401 looks good still. Southbound 404 DVP, we've got some delays shepherd to the 401 ramps, and you can see some light flurry activity happening again around the GT, so that will of course affect your commute. It'll start to slow you down. Southbound Dufferin at Finch, the collision there, it has cleared away. If you love them, tell them with the Carlton Cards this Valentine's Day. Share the love and save $2 with a coupon when you visit CarltonCards.ca. Available at Sobeys, Metro, and Shoppers Drug Mart. Your next report is at 12:01. Here's the extended forecast with Carl Lamb.
And these are the wet snowflakes that are falling across the GTA right now. Looks like it's picking up. So if you are traveling Toronto bound on any of the major highways, you are going to run into these snow showers all the way from Hamilton over towards Oakville, and as you're traveling towards Etobicoke, and including areas like Woodbridge, Bramalea, and Brampton as well. So this is going to continue, these waves of snow showers on and off throughout the day, totaling up to about 3 centimeters for most. Some areas picking up 5 centimeters. and then temperatures drop tonight. By the end of the evening commute, we're down to -10 and then -20 for an overnight low. Wind chills will be near -25 and possibly -30 the further north you go. -9 tomorrow
give me
with
that
some
shit. The water's
sunshine,
cold
and
too, eh?
it's not going to be a warm
It's not
day
a
by
magical
any
place to
stretch,
be.
but at least there's some sunshine to make you feel a little better. And then for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the long weekend, it's dry during the day, a little bit of snow
It's
shower
like fucking
activity in
winter
the evening. Temperatures on Saturday -1, Sunday 2 degrees, and for Family Day -1. Right now 0 at Pearson, +1 at 680 News. Today's guaranteed high +1.
-30, +2.
This extended
Are you
forecast
fucking
is brought to
serious?
you
I think
by
that's more than what it was
Roto-Rooter
last time.
Emergency Services. Flood or sewer backup? Roto-Rooters plumbing and drain specialists will clean up, disinfect, and restore everything back to its
32
original
degree
condition.
differences.
Roto-Rooter, #1 in the #2 business since 1935.
And coming up at the top of the hour, we'll have the latest on this major
Supposedly
subway
people
closure
in
still
China,
in effect.
the
There's no
police are beating
service on
dogs
line
to
1
death.
between St. Clair West and Union
This shit came from
stations.
bats. What's it got to do with
680 News
dogs?
Time, 11:53.
Excitement is right around the corner at Casino Woodbine. More excitement than King Street on a Saturday. More rush than the Falls. More lights than Young and Dundas.
Holes all over my legs again.
More fun is just minutes away. Casino Woodbine,
And I'm
Toronto's
speckled. I
home
got
for
brown
gaming
dots
and
all over the damn
entertainment.
place.
Must be 19 plus. Rewards membership required. If you gamble, play smart. This is the 680 News events calendar.
Visit Canada's premium fishing show at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show, February 14th to 17th at the International Center. Enjoy fun for the whole family with over 10 features to check out and multiple prizes to be won. Explore some of the biggest names in the fishing industry. Get your tickets today.
Check out the 680 News events page for more at 680news.com.
Well, coming up in business news in 60 seconds, Jeff Bezos makes real estate history.
680 News Time, 11:55.
What did he do?
Mighty fine horse you got there.
Oh my god, is that what it feels like to say that? Is that what that feels like? Oh shit.
With endless data.
It took that guy to make me say that. Wow.
Don't know the meaning of whoa. Endless data on your phone. All your devices, actually. Tablets and watches.
I've heard of
and
a lot of
whatnot.
shit, man.
Yes,
This
sir.
guy just kind of.
Rick and I ought to
I said a car into space. Okay. Give me electric car.
Visit
Okay.
TELUS.com/peace of mind.
Are you struggling to lose weight? At the Bernstein Diet and Health Clinic,
I'm gonna be a billionaire. My company's gonna be $1 trillion. Blah 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 blah. Okay, buddy. Chill out. I never said you wouldn't.
without exercise or diet pills. Whether you want to lose 10 pounds, 50 pounds,
Although I think the Tesla shit is a joke. I mean, if you have the money for it, go for it. Your business that you drive.
So stop struggling and start succeeding. Call us today at 1
There's supposedly an Apple computer that costs $60,000 and a Tesla something or other that costs $40,000.
680 News Time, 11:56.
Now the 680
Whatever
News
you
business
fucking feel
report.
better
Here's
spending
Stuart
than
McGinnis.
even 100 right
Jeff
there.
Bezos has just bought the most expensive property in Los Angeles from David
Dr.
Geffen,
J's house
another
or
unimaginably
Jackson's?
wealthy man, for $165 million. The property is the Warner Estate. It spreads out 9 acres across Beverly Hills. But what's even more
I wanna get
amazing is
4
how
acres, 10 grand.
inconsequential this purchase is for the Amazon founder. It's worth only 0.1% of his current estimated net worth. As I mentioned, he spent $165 million on this house. Putting it into context, if you make $60,000 a year, that's like dropping $75 on a house. Who cares? For anyone keeping track, Bezos has 3 homes in Beverly Hills. He's got 3 in New York
What I
City,
would've said just
along with
now.
properties in
You didn't
Texas and
just
a
say
couple in Washington. He is the richest person in the world with an estimated net worth of
Whoa.
nearly $131 billion. On the markets, the TSX lower today by
Depends how you
21
look
points,
at it.
17,811.
Really
The
depends how
Dow
you look
Jones
at it.
lower by 84 to 29,466.
You get a
The
receipt?
S&P's flat
Did
right
you get
now
the
at
reference?
3,379, while the Nasdaq's lower by 8 points to 9,717. The price of oil higher, but just by 25 cents to 51.43 a barrel. Now time for the Express Gold Refining, XAU.ca gold price update. It's the safe haven today, up by $7.60
cents to 15.79 the ounce, while the Canadian dollar is heading the other direction, lower by 3/100ths, sitting at 75.44 cents US. Well, a positive earnings report out from TELUS, the company reporting net revenue up 3% from last year, but its adjusted earnings were down and missed analyst estimates. That adjusted net income fall represents a dip of 67 cents per share. Canaccord Genuity says the 70,000 mobile phone subscriptions added by TELUS during the quarter was in line with expectations, but the rate of churn resulting from losing subscribers was higher due to a highly competitive market. And looking at telecom stocks today, they are mostly down. TELUS lower by $1.06 to 54.29. And Shares and Rogers, the parent company of this radio station, lower as well by 43 cents to $65.73. Recapping those markets, TSX lower by 19, Dow off by 81. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart McGinn.
The Auto Show Savings event is on now at Mercedes-Benz Durham with exclusive offers on 2020 models. Lease a 2020 GLC 300 4MATIC SUV equipped with premium and sport package from $699 per month with zero down.
Okay, I still would spend that on that small amount of
demo
money.
models, and existing Mercedes-Benz customers receive an additional 1% lease or finance rate reduction. Mercedes-Benz Durham, 2019 Star Dealer, 20 minutes east of the DVP.
But every fucking room would be converted to some type of greenhouse. What are they going to do? It's my house. You need a warrant. Come in.
Sale is on now at Active Green and Ross until February 29th. Get a $100 mail-in rebate with the purchase of 4 new
No weed, that's nice. I got lots of adults in here smoking weed.
We will not be undersold.
There's a gate where you're probably, right? There has to be. It's the Warner Estate. You can't just walk from the sidewalk onto the lawn. Yeah?
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Walmart.
Love is in the air.
Wonder if it
at
comes with
Walmart.
dogs.
Right now, a dozen premium long stem roses are only $15. Find the perfect Valentine's Day gift at Walmart. In Newmarket, it's cloudy and -3. St. Catharines, some snow and 0. Partly cloudy sky, -1 in Oshawa right now. Caledon, light snow, -4.
I wonder
In
how many
Burlington, it's cloudy and
undocumented
1 degree.
workers
Light
are
snow
on
and
the
0
property
for Hamilton.
right now.
Right now, in downtown Toronto, some light snow. It's 1 degree. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto.
I never said how many rooms.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680
9 acres is okay. You got a big yard.
Here are
Um,
Steve Roberts
how
and
many
Sarah Perez.
people could come into your house?
Good afternoon. This is Thursday, the 13th of
Yeah,
February.
like one washroom
Here's
and
what's making
7
news
bedrooms.
this
Like,
hour.
what's the exact range?
The TTC says the maintenance car that partially derailed this morning is now back on the tracks, but there's still no subway service on Line 1 between St. Clair West and Union Station. Provincial health officials say there are no new cases of COVID-19 in Ontario, but in Japan, an outbreak on a cruise ship is getting worse, now affecting a dozen Canadians. The federal Indigenous Services Minister has reportedly reached out to at least one First Nation, offering a meeting to try and end the anti-pipeline rail blockades.
Just one lineup change for the Leafs. Freddie Anderson returns to face the Stars, and the Astros apologize, but it's not clear what for. Sports at 15.
Call it a 2-for-1. Tesla wants to have a big funding round to help ramp up production, and we're eyeing pot stocks on Bay Street with a list
That's
of earnings
not what
reports
you
in this week.
ramp up
Business at
production.
26.
That's not a good reason.
City News Time,
You
12:01.
mean to buy
Now for
inventory
traffic
to
and weather
pay
together on the ones in Toronto's most frequent traffic
exactly are
reports.
they
Good
trying to do?
afternoon, Kerry Prunskis.
Good afternoon, Steve and Sarah. This traffic report is brought to you by iasecurities.ca. Northbound on the
I
427
don't wanna
north of
stop. I don't
Bradford
give
in
a
the
shit.
Express. MTO reporting some debris in the center lane. We have a few vehicles on the right shoulder as well. And northbound on the 427 is backed up from Dundas to north of Rathburn in the express lanes. The collector lanes are moving much better. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, not spotting any problems, but it's getting busy from Eglinton to north of Lawrence. Looks like a good drive, though, on the westbound 401 as you head across the city and into Mississauga. Eastbound 401, just one slow spot that I'm seeing, and that's from Mississauga Road over to Mavis. Southbound 404 Don Valley Parkway, that gets bunched up as you approach Shepherd and the collectors onto the 401 ramps, but it's pretty smooth drive right now down the southbound DVP. And the westbound Gardner, only busy from the DVP to Cherry. Traveling city streets, keep in mind Bayview remains closed in both directions between River and Lauren Harris. That's all for construction. At IA Securities, advisors don't just build the wealth of their clients, they invest in a relationship of trust. Visit iasecurities.ca. And now with a look at the forecast. Good afternoon, Denise Andriachi. Looks like the temperature is going to be taking a bit of a tumble.
Oh, yeah, just a wee bit. The coldest air of the season moving in. Dangerously cold temperatures expected tonight. Environment Canada has issued extreme cold warnings for us here in the GTA, Carrie. It's not just the base temperatures, it's also the wind chill. So tonight, it's going to feel close to minus 30 for much of southern Ontario. Right now, what we're dealing with is some scattered light snowfall across the GTA, making for a bit of a tricky drive. It is light and scattered, but fairly consistent throughout the day that we'll be seeing this on and off active weather in periods of snow. Right now, a wind chill of -8. We're sitting at -2, but by tonight, again, we are going to plummet when it comes to the temperatures for a couple of days.
I must know how many rooms this house has. Shit.
680 News Time, 12:03.
Happening now on the TTC, there are still some lingering issues for anyone using a busy stretch of line number 1, the Yonge University Spadina line today. That's because of a derailed maintenance car. It's actually what sparked the problem early this morning, closing the line between St. Clair West and Union.
680's Momin Qureshi joins us live from St. George Station with the latest update. Momin.
Sarah, we're about 6.5 hours out from when this problem initially started, when that maintenance car partially derailed this morning, and there's still crowds of people trying to get on shuttle buses, either northbound or southbound here from St. George Station to get to where they're trying to go. Now, I've been talking to people who have been feeling the brunt of this frustration and say, unfortunately, for the TTC, it's same old, same old.
Every other day there's a problem, so it's not new.
That's what a lot of people are telling me as they deal with these problems, saying it seems to be every other day something like this happens on the TTC, but you got to keep a level head about it.
Also, I do know it's not the operator's fault per se. Like, you can't really get mad at people just doing their jobs, but it would be nice to get there on time.
But the CTC does say that that maintenance vehicle that did partially derail this morning has been put back on the rails, but there is still no service at this point. Still,
that is something I always wondered how they do.
West
They
and
gotta use
Union
airbags.
Station. Usually, it takes them a long time to make sure the system is up and running and perfect before they reopen it back up to the public. So we don't know exactly when full service will be restored to this line. But we will keep you posted as the afternoon unfolds. Reporting live outside St. George Station, I'm Momin Qureshi.
You're listening to 680 News. Well, today, one of the last steps in the city's 2020 budget process, the proposed $13.5 billion operating plan is set to go before the mayor's executive committee today. And Mayor John Tory says the plan will increase the number of frontline services.
If approved by the city council, the budget will hire, for example, 62 new paramedics, more than 300 police officers, 121 TTC operators.
Now, the average homeowner's property tax bill will
Hire more
rise about
cops, nothing
$128 this year if the plan does move forward as is. Now, the budget is also assuming that they're going to get about $77 million in federal funding that has yet to be guaranteed. Full council, though, still has to approve that final budget. They will be doing that next Wednesday.
This is 680 News. There are no new cases of COVID-19 here in Ontario. Health officials providing the latest update this morning. 680's Alex Bloomfield is following all of the developments here at home as well as abroad. He joins us live. Alex.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. Still just 2 unresolved cases of the virus here in Ontario. The married couple who traveled to Wuhan. Lab testing expert Dr. Vanessa Allen says the man and woman have now largely recovered but remain in isolation.
We do know that there's some component of virus in those specimens, and the criteria that have been laid out are being followed, that we require 2 negative specimens.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Williams says 3 people quarantined at CFB Trenton have been tested, and they all came back negative. In Japan, however, the situation on a cruise ship is getting worse. Over 40 new cases today. Now 12 Canadians have the virus. Foreign Affairs Minister Francois Philippe Champagne says there may be a change in quarantine strategy on the ship upcoming.
We understand that from the Japanese authorities that they may allow for some people to disembark from the ship and be put in quarantine on shore.
Elderly patients will be given priority if that does happen. 279 Canadians are also on a cruise ship off the coast of Cambodia that has been denied entry at 5 ports. No positive tests on board yet. Passengers being tested may be allowed off tomorrow. In China, the number of cases now up over 48,000 and 1,300 deaths as they switch to a new testing procedure, really causing a spike in those numbers overnight using CT scans instead of lab testing. Reporting live, Alex Bloomfield.
You're listening to 680 News. Well, family and friends are going to gather today to say goodbye to a 4-year-old girl. Kira Kagan and her father went missing over the weekend while hiking over at Rattlesnake Point Conservation Area in Milton. Their bodies, though, were found after an hours-long search. Now, the girl's mother and stepfather have raised questions about the circumstances surrounding their deaths, which are now the subject of a police investigation.
Well, it appears the federal government is taking steps to try and bring an end to the rail blockades that have been set up to protest a natural gas pipeline in BC. With more, here's our Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney.
Both supporters and opponents of these blockades have called on the federal government to do something, and now the CBC reports the Indigenous Services Minister has sent a letter to Mohawk demonstrators blocking a major rail line in Ontario. Minister Mark Miller is requesting a meeting to discuss their concerns. In exchange, he asked them to halt their demonstrations. Yesterday, the Prime Minister called on all sides to resolve the matter, but noted the pipeline and the court injunctions against protests are provincial matters. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce says Canada's supply chain is being severely disrupted by these demonstrations, and it's calling for all levels of government to immediately end the blockades and restore rail service. Meanwhile, a new poll from Angus Reid finds just over 50% of Canadians are in support of the pipeline, while 2 in 5 support the protesters. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
This portion of 680 News is brought to you today by ADT by TELUS, the Canada Strong campaign, which is collecting money for the families of the victims of the Ukraine plane crash last month, has now raised over $900,000. The president of Paramount Fine Foods, who launched the campaign, says they are nearing the February 21st deadline, which is when the federal government will end its pledge to match those funds that are donated. The federal government has said it will match donations of up to $1.5 million. Well, coming up in 30 seconds, we'll have a check on city streets. And you know, it's some big movement for the price of gas tonight, so you might want to consider filling up this afternoon or early this evening.
680 News Time, 12:09.
It's an exciting new era in smart home security for homeowners and businesses across Canada. ADT is now ADT by TELUS. We're not just a new name. We're offering Canadians new lower pricing on smart security solutions.
The change is 2 cents. You pay $1 more or $1 less.
To the same old security
If you fill the whole fucking tank, right?
$25 a month with up to $1,000 in free
So
equipment.
it's a half a
Sign
tank,
up
that's
today and get
$4
$5 off our premium plan, plus a free smart door lock. For
Rush right
homeowners.
out for that.
Conditions apply. Visit ADT.ca
$5
for
less
details.
gas is what you're gonna pay.
And checking your city streets right now, baby.
We sell gas and we sell drugs, and we're like, we don't fucking know what they're doing. We're just buying the gas.
Because we had a broken water main early this morning. And if you're traveling northbound on Yonge, keep in mind right now it's jammed up from Summerhill to St. Clair. Unfortunately,
What they did,
it's
they
all
got the
because of
media
construction.
and private people to set up websites to advertise their prices for them. They don't advertise their prices. It gets advertised for
It's going
them.
to go up 3 cents a liter at midnight, just in time for the long weekend. It's going to go to $1.12.9.
City News Time, 12:10.
You haven't
3
said
cents.
anything
Okay, so
about how I look
$1.20.
in this. Beautiful. That jacket is your color.
No, this car, silly.
You look especially beautiful in this car. This is Maple Auto Mall. You'd look fantastic in everything here.
At all 9 dealerships.
It's almost an American dollar. Almost.
That's a lot of makes and
Almost an
models.
American dollar.
Why
So
don't you
really,
see how
if
you
we
look in every
price it in American
You never
dollars
say that
for
when I'm
like
buying
international consumption,
But I have no interest in
the
borrowing
price is
your
going to go up
clothes.
about 95 cents on a full
The
tank.
Bank and Auto Group.
Being an entrepreneur
On a
means
$50
always having
purchase.
ideas to grow my business. And when I turned to BDC to bring my ideas to life, they came up with solutions I hadn't even thought of.
At BDC,
Let's right out and
being
get
the
a
only
dust
bank
mask and a flu
exclusively
shot.
devoted to
They
entrepreneurs,
told us that.
means
The
investing
flu
ourselves
shot wouldn't work at all.
100%
Then the
in our
next thing they told us was to
clients'
go and get a flu
profits. When you
shot.
turn to us to help
Why
grow
did you
your
just tell us
business,
that?
it's
You just
our
started to
turn to
roll
come
it
up
up.
with ideas.
Go further with BDC. BDC. Financing, advising, smarts.
680 News Time, 12:11.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Checking the drive this afternoon. How are things looking, Carrie?
Well, I got an update on this northbound 427 situation. This report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Northbound 427 north of Rathburn and the Express. We still have a problem on the right shoulder, but thankfully that backup has really eased in the last little bit. So it's only a minor delay as you approach that problem north of Rathburn and the Express. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, no problems, but it's busy from Spanbridge to north of Lawrence. You'll find a good drive, though, up onto the northbound 404. Westbound 401, that's in great shape across the city and heading into Mississauga. Eastbound 401, a delay from Mississauga Road over to Mavis. Been a little bit busy as you head through Kipling, but other than that, we're doing pretty well across the GTA on the eastbound 401. Southbound 404 Don Valley Parkway, that's busy from south of Finch onto the DVP to about York Mills, and then things improve. And the westbound Gardner only busy from the DVP to Cherry as you head into that construction zone. In town, keep in mind that Bayview is closed in both directions between River and Lauren Harris, and this is all for repairs to a broken water main. It's not expected to reopen until around 5 o'clock this afternoon, so just expect heavier volume on River in both directions as a result.
Minus 20.
This year, 407 ETR is adding 30 kilometers of new lanes to keep up with increasing traffic and keep your commutes fast, safe, and reliable. Visit 407etr.com. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andreatti.
Well, we're seeing a bit of scattered light snowfall on and off through the rest of the day today and even tonight, but that won't be the story tonight. The story later on will be the extreme cold that we are expecting. We'll plummet down to lows in the minus 20s across the GTA and also wind chills close to the minus 30s. This will be the coldest air that we've experienced in a very long time. Hard to believe because right now, as the snow falls in the downtown core, we're sitting at +1, which is our guaranteed high for the day. But extreme cold warnings have been issued by Environment Canada. Make sure that you cover exposed skin, dress in layers.
How
bring
many
your
kilometers
pets
an hour
indoors
is this wind?
tonight.
Hold on.
Do not let them stay out there for very long. Mainly sunny for Friday, but still well below the seasonal average near -8. An overnight low on Friday night near -12. Light snow falling at Pearson right now. We're sitting at -3. Your guaranteed high reached this morning +1.
680 News Time, 12:13.
Time now for the Scotia iTrade Market Minute. Let's check in at the Business Center and see how things are looking. Stu?
Yeah, Steve, things are looking a little bit better. We saw some decent declines to start the day, but now we're almost back into positive territory. The TSX lower by only 9 points right now, 17,823. The Dow lower by 38 to 29,512. It was lower by more than 200 points to start the day, while the S&P is off 12, and the NASDAQ is actually up by 7 points to 9,733. We're still seeing a drop, though, for the Canadian dollar, lower by 3/100ths of a cent to 75.44 cents US. Gold is up $8 to 15.79 an ounce, and the price of oil higher, but just by 40 cents today to 51.56 a barrel. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart again.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get up to $1,500 cash and $6.99 pricing, or up to 500 free equity trades. Details at scotiaitrade.com/winter20.
Gloomy, chilly winds and overcast skies. Ugh, that sounds fun. Take a break from dreary and get into the warmth of Ripley's.
I must know the wind. The winds. The winds. Tell me what the wind is going to be doing. Hello, Mr. Government. I need to talk to you. Well, I just need to listen. Oh, I timed that wrong.
For the city of Toronto, press 1.
No, okay, I can't do it 3 times. That's what's wrong with it.
For the forecast for the next 7 days, press 1. The Environment Canada forecast issued at 11 a.m. Thursday, February 13th for today and Friday. City of Toronto, extreme cold warning in effect. For today, periods of snow, amounts 2 centimeters. Wind becoming northwest 20 kilometers per hour, gusting to 40 this afternoon. Temperature falling to -5 this afternoon. UV index 1 or low wind chill -15 this afternoon. For tonight, periods of snow ending this evening, then clearing. Wind northwest 20 kilometers per hour, gusting to 40, becoming light overnight. Low -21, wind chill -15 this evening and -30 overnight. Risk of frostbite. For Friday, mainly sunny. Wind up to 15 kilometers per hour. High -8, UV index 2 or low wind chill -28 in the morning and -13 in the afternoon. Risk of frostbite. Extended forecast, Friday night, clear. Low -12. For Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud. High -2. For Saturday night, cloudy with 60% chance of flurries. Low -3. For Sunday, cloudy with 40% chance of flurries. High +1. For Sunday night, cloudy periods with 30% chance of...
So it's going to be Sunday before it's... Wow. Nice. Nice. Welcome to Soviet... the USCP, the Union of Soviet Canadian Provinces. You thought the C stood for communist. This is the exact time they have the guys talking. I know it. I just know it. Name a sport.
And once I spent some time there, understood what was happening. I can't go back. I can't reverse my decision. Like I said, I wish I had said more, and I didn't. And for that, I'm sorry.
Carlos Correa was probably the most straightforward in admitting they were wrong and admitting their actions had an impact. Astros owner Jim Crane says the players should not be punished for the failure of leadership. Happening now in round one of the Genesis Invitational, Kyung-Hoon Lee is in a share of the lead at 3 under alongside Bronson Burgoon and Matt Kuchar is through just fine. Top Canadian at the moment is Roger Sloan, 1 over through 3.
I knew I should have counted to 30 before I turned it up
every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
With Intact Insurance, you can get rewarded for being a good driver. No, really. The better you drive, the more you save. Seriously, you could get up to 30% off your car insurance with My Drive. Can you put your hands on your head? No. Please keep your hands on the wheel. Intact Insurance, the insurance you dream of. If you dream of insurance, get a quote on intact.ca.
People pay the least for
insurance.
I don't
Certain conditions and exclusions apply.
There's a reason you look people in the eyes when you shake their hand. A reason you don't like being late for meetings and hate missing deadlines. It's why you put your customers first and pick your partners wisely. Because you know, in business, reputation is everything. Trust your reputation to FedEx for all of your international shipping needs. Express, ground, and freight. Visit FedEx.ca/reason. FedEx, connecting people and possibilities.
You're listening to 680 News. The Supreme Court of Canada will decide today whether to hear the appeals of a Calgary couple who were found guilty of killing their 15-year-old son.
Witnesses at their trial testified the boy was so neglected that he weighed 37 pounds when he died in 2013 of complications from untreated diabetes and starvation. In handing down her verdict, Court of Queen's Bench Justice Karen Horner said the couple was in gross denial of Alexandra's disease. The Alberta Court of Appeal rejected their appeals, but in October the couple asked the Supreme Court for permission to challenge the decision.
Now, Emil and Rodica Rodina were sentenced to life in prison, no chance of parole for at least 25 years. Coming up in 60 seconds, we've got Carrie Prunskis standing by with a look at the roads as the snow continues to come down now in the GTA, and we'll look at your extended forecast. Denise Andriachi's got those chilly details coming up.
Unifor Local 414 reminds you that Monday, February 17th is Family Day in Ontario. This much-needed midwinter break is dedicated to our province's hard-working people, and in particular, our greatest resource, families. The family is what bonds us and keeps Ontario economically strong. Enjoy the long weekend and take a moment to reflect with pride on living, working, and being an active part of the future and growth of our province. Have a safe and enjoyable Family Day. From Unifor Local 414.
Need window inspiration?
The
Then you need to
workers,
speak
the
to the
unions,
experts.
the work-
Hi,
see
I'm
what-
Tom Rokiki of Inline Fiberglass Windows and Doors. Our window experts are experienced in working with architects, builders, and homeowners to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So whether you're replacing your old windows or building your dream building, dream the dream with Inline Fiberglass. If you can dream it, we can build it. Visit our factory direct showroom, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or inlinefiberglass.com.
680 News Time, 12:21.
Who's it going to name the next holiday?
And weather together on the ones. Carrie Prunskis, is that light snow affecting travel out there right now?
Doesn't seem to be impacting it too terribly right now.
That's good.
Yes. This report is brought to you by Serpa Motorsports. However, I am seeing a volume building very quickly northbound on the DVP. It's now getting jammed up from Don Mills to north of Lawrence, so pretty heavy through that stretch. But as for the 401, we're not doing too badly. It looks like eastbound traffic is slowing a little bit as you head through Leslie and the collectors, but other than that, it's doing well. Southbound on the 404 Don Valley Parkway, that gets busy as you approach Shepherd and the collectors onto the 401 ramps, and a bit busy on the southbound DVP from the 401 to York Mills. Westbound on the Gardner, that's slow from the DVP to Cherry. But once you're west of Cherry, it's wide open, and it looks good on the westbound QEW as you head through Mississauga, Oakville, and Burlington. Northbound on the 427, that problem north of Rathburn and the Express has completely cleared, and it looks like delays have completely eased off on the northbound 427. In town, don't forget that Bayview is still closed in both directions between River and Lauren Harris. Crews are repairing a broken water main, and it's not scheduled to reopen until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Hey, great news for Suzuki riders. Serpa Motorsports now open on Yonge Street in Aurora. Full model lineup, snowmobiles, wave runners, ATVs, motorcycles, and more. Call Serpa Motorsports now. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Well, temperature's not too bad right now. We're fairly seasonal across the GTA, a little milder in the downtown core than at Pearson right now. Pearson, a wind chill of -8. The light snow scattered and light will be steady, however, throughout the day today. But it is not the big story. The big story is the extreme cold that is sinking south here into the GTA, and much of the province of Ontario already, just north of us, is dealing with these really cold temperatures. What a difference a day makes. And by tonight, we'll be down to near -20 for much of the GTA. Of course, very cold when you factor in the wind chill as well. A lot of sunshine on Friday, highs only near -8. The average this time of year is -2. By Saturday afternoon, we climb out of that extreme cold. Sun and cloud expected, highs near -2, -3 with some flurries for Saturday night. Your guaranteed high reached early this morning, +1.
And coming up at the bottom of the hour, we will have more on the subway delays that we are still experiencing out on line number 1, the Yonge University Spadina line, after a maintenance train derailed early this morning at St. George Station. Now, the good news is that train is now back on the tracks, but the problem is there's still no service between St. Clair West and Union. Shuttle buses, though, are still running. 680 News Time, 12:23.
Changes very slowly.
Introducing Montfair by Cremont.
Better than any tattoo you could buy. This shit changes over
coming soon to Brampton.
slowly though, so I'm not even sure it's happening. But no, I can see because I don't look at my legs all the fucking time.
Only minutes to the GO station in charming Mount Pleasant Village.
Yeah, spots all over.
Enjoy a convenient, connected lifestyle in a unique community.
A pigment. On fucking pigmentless skin.
300s.
How that
Register at Fremont.com.
The next big traffic reporter superstar is out there.
And we want them on our team.
With the 680 News Junior Traffic Reporter Contest.
And 407 ETR.
Vote now for who you think has what it takes to be our next junior reporter at 680news.com/junior. Winner has a chance to win a cash prize, and so does their school.
Plus, they could be featured as a junior traffic reporter on 680 News.
The 680 News Junior Traffic Reporter Contest.
Brought to you by 407 ETR.
Get all the details at 680news.com/junior.
680 News is brought to you today by Alpine Credits. Coming up in 60 seconds, Stuart McGinn standing by at the Business Center where Tesla is looking to raise some more cash. We'll tell you why on the way. 680 News Time, 12:25.
Because
Alpine Credits.
should
I'm
give
looking
us
for a
money.
home renovation
Damn
loan,
it.
but do I get to see the rates first?
Yep, we're 100% transparent.
Okay.
Did the
what's your
armor
greatest
fail
fear?
or some
Dancing
shit?
in public.
What do you
Man.
find hard about relationships?
Being honest about when I'm hurt.
Can I have a loan?
Oof, yes. If you own your home, you're approved.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved, and we're afraid of dancing in public but not of showing our rates. They're posted at alpinecredits.ca. Alpine Credits. Some conditions apply. FISRA license 12616.
Thanks for calling Reliance Home Comfort. It's Jeff. How can I help you?
Hi, my furnace stopped working. Should I fix or replace it?
Depends on the age of your furnace and what the problem is. We'll get there fast to inspect it. And if it can't be fixed, you can get our featured furnace and pay no interest for 24 months. Plus, ask about our next day or we pay $500 installation guarantee. When you need help fast.
Reliance.
Financing OAC. Smart Air 2000 cash price is $5,500. Monthly payment is $259. Conditions apply. See website for details.
680 News Time, 12:26. Now time for the 680 News Business Report. We're going to go live to the Business Center with Stuart McGinn. And Stuart, you're keeping an eye on Tesla today. And Tesla is looking to really ramp up production in a big way, but they need some cash to do it.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. Tesla's focus now is ramping up production of course, their electric vehicles, but also increasing the battery capacity of their Model 3. And to do it, the company needs to raise up to $2 billion. They want to do that through fresh funding and a new stock offering. Here's the interesting part. Just 2 weeks ago in an earnings call, CEO Elon Musk said it didn't make sense to raise new money in Tesla's current condition because the company has all of the cash that it needs. In regards to this funding, though, Musk will be buying himself up to $10 million of the new shares, while board member Larry Ellison will also buy about $1 million worth. Shares of Tesla today are higher by 3.5% to $794. Here at home, stocks,
They're going to be selling
all the
more.
talk on Bay Street this week. It started with an earnings report from Aurora Cannabis this morning. We'll get earnings from Supreme Cannabis after the closing bell and see numbers from Canada Growth tomorrow. Aurora's numbers showed quarter-over-quarter declines in pretty much every area. The report comes after the company announced the departure of its CEO last week, and they cut 500 jobs. Greg McLeish with Mackie Research tells me the future outlook not so bright right now.
The company is really having a challenging time right now, sort of giving guidance on flower and the new Cannabis 2.0 product. So it doesn't, from an analytical standpoint, it makes it, I would say very challenging to model this company at the present time.
Shares in Aurora Cannabis right now are higher by 2% to $1.96. The TSX lower by 11 points, 17,820, and we're seeing a bit of a give back on Wall Street after a negative start to the day. The Dow Jones now lower by just 58 points. Started the day lower by more than 200. Right now it's at 29,495, while the S&P's up a point and the Nasdaq's up 3. Oil's also up by 43 cents a barrel, 51.59. Gold's up $7 to $15.78 the ounce. And looking at the Canadian dollar, still a down day by 4/100ths of a cent. It's sitting at 75.43 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart McGinn.
There's winter, and then there's wind terror.
Come on, right now.
It doesn't just bring rain, but freezing rain. Not just sleet, but the slushiest of sleet. And worst of all, wind terror brings snow days, which means you have to take the kids into work. No! Make it stop! Bring on winter in a Subaru. Hurry in for great rates from 0.99% at your Ontario Subaru dealer.
Have you heard about direct lending? It's more flexible than bank lending without the bank. With tougher regulations after the financial crisis, traditional banks have cut back on lending to homeowners. With a home equity loan from Capital Direct, the money that you could use is a simple phone call away. Whether it's home renovations, college tuition, or you just want to pay down taxes, Capital Direct can help. Go direct. Call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL to see what's available for you. .ca.
It's time for the 680 News Business Travelers Forecast, brought to you by Air Transat.
With Air Transat Kids Club, enjoy a dedicated check-in counter, in-flight goodies, and priority baggage handling.
Air Transat. Vacation is calling.
Taking a look in Vancouver, we're looking at a little bit of rain and 7 degrees. In Winnipeg, sunny and cold, a high of only -21. If you're heading out to New York City, expecting some rain and 8 degrees. Right now in downtown Toronto, light snow continues. It's 1, feels more like -4. Need2 Super Sad Sing is the midday show winner.
Right now.
Rashini is our digital editor.
Save myself 20 or 30 degrees with trouble.
680 News Time, 12:30.
#1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Barrett and
I
Steve
was running this ball. I did have to cross the street.
It's Thursday, February 13th.
And good afternoon. Here's
I
what's
need the
making
mic
news
to
this
supposed
hour.
to play some beaver.
The TTC says the maintenance vehicle that partially derailed this morning is now
Partially.
back
No,
on the
it's either
rails.
derailed
but
or
there's
smashed.
still
One of the
no
wheels
service
off,
on
you
line
should
1
be.
between St. Clair West and Union Station.
No new patients in Ontario, and provincial health officials are urging calm in the wake of a spike in COVID-19 cases in China as Global Affairs closely monitors a rapidly spreading outbreak on a cruise ship near Tokyo.
The federal Indigenous Services Minister has reportedly reached out to at least one First Nation, offering a meeting to try and end the anti-pipeline rail blockades.
Hey, police have their #1 back. Freddie Anderson says he's good to go against Dallas tonight. The Astros say sorry. Sports at 45.
The U.S. president acknowledges 4 businesses that have joined the $1 trillion club, but his execution might have been a little off. So are the Dow and TSX right now. We'll explain in business coming up at 56.
Everything about him is a little off, eh?
680 News Time, 12:31.
Time for traffic and weather together.
There's a lot of people looking like crazy homeless people.
This report
Crazy
is brought to you
street
by
people. It's like,
Rona.
Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's the busiest route I'm seeing right now. It's still going from Don Mills to north of Lawrence, just a whole due to volume. If you're heading eastbound on the 401, we have a couple of slow spots. It's busy through Kiel and the collectors, and then again as you approach Leslie and the collectors, so just be prepared for those slowdowns. Southbound 404 Don Valley Parkway, that's busy from south of Finch onto the 401 ramps, only a minor slowdown southbound DVP from the 401 to York Mills, and the westbound Gardner gets bunched up from the DVP to Cherry. Westbound Lakeshore, that's pretty heavy as well as you approach the Don roadway onto the Gardner ramp. It's all due to that long-term construction. But the QEW very lightly traveled in both directions. In town, Bayview is still closed in both directions between River and Lauren Harris. This is all for repairs to a broken water main, so just expect heavier volume on River as a result. From Saturday to Monday at Rona, with 15% off purchases of $100 or more, it's the perfect time to revamp your kitchen. Do yourself proud with Rona. Conditions apply. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Some scattered light snowfall on and off for the GTA over the rest of this afternoon, really, and evening still possible. It's not going to be the big story, though. That will be the cold, the extreme cold that's sinking south here in the GTA. Extreme cold warnings have been issued by Environment Canada. This will be a shock to the system, especially considering the fact that we have had such mild air for 2020 overall, and it's been relatively mild as well for the last week or so. So temperatures right now, not too bad, fairly seasonal. -3 at Pearson. It feels like -8. We're expected to plummet to -20 for much of the GTA in southern Ontario tonight. Wind chills closer to -30. The cold sticks around for a couple of days, then it breaks for the weekend. Your guaranteed high reached this morning, +1.
680 News Time, 12:33.
Happening now on Line 1, the Young University Spadina line. The problems continue for subway riders after a maintenance car derailed at St. George Station very early this morning. That train has since been put back on the track, but this closure between St. Clair West and Union Stations remains in place.
And our Moment Qureshi is down at St. George Station this afternoon where the incident initially happened and joins us live with some of the ripple effect that is still going on. Moment.
So, Steve, we have a little bit more information as to what the process will be before the system gets back up and running from the head of TTC Customer Service, who says that maintenance vehicle that did partially derail this morning has been put back on the rails and taken out of the system over to the Greenwood Yard. Now, there are some steps that you need to follow to make sure that the tracks are safe, to see if there's any repairs that need to be done, then to do some testing, run some subways on the line before they can fully reopen it. So it'll still be, according to the TTC, at least a little while before the system is officially back up and running, hopefully in time for the afternoon rush home. Now, I've been talking to passengers here who have been putting up with this delay and say it is a challenge. Usually there's an incident once or twice a week, but today is the worst. Are you frustrated by this, or do you just...
I'm frustrated when you're late from work, you know, everybody is already there and they're expecting you to be on time, but it's not your fault because you left on time from home, so you're frustrated.
I'm still looking at a crowd of about 100 people waiting for a shuttle bus.
Leave extra time. He said, I did leave extra time.
Along the route that the subway usually goes towards Union Station. Reporting live outside St. George Station, I'm Omen Qureshi.
680 News Time, 12:35. Health officials with the Ford government say they're investigating over a dozen possible cases of COVID-19 here in Ontario. Today's update comes as the situation gets worse on board a cruise ship in Japan, where Canadians are among the more than 200 people now infected. 680's Alex Bloomfield is following everything to do with the virus and joins live with the latest. Alex.
Well, Sarah, the 340 people have now been tested for COVID-19 in Ontario. 322 are negative. Still just 3 positive. One of them already resolved. The remaining 2 patients basically symptom-free, though still in isolation. 15 samples under investigation. The negative tests, including 3 people who are quarantined at CFB Trenton. The good news comes in the same day China announced a major spike in the number of cases. The total number rising to 15,000 more in a single day. But Ontario's Chief Medical Officer David Williams says those numbers should be taken with a grain of salt because China is now using a new testing system using CT scans instead of the more accurate lab results.
Is it just for
COVID-19? Hold on.
Like a viral pneumonia in influenza, or otherwise? How specific is it, and how sensitive is it? Still to be determined.
That's Williams talking about the new testing methods being used in China. As for that cruise ship in Japan, more concern there as there are now 12 Canadian Canadians who contracted the virus on board that ship. Over 218 now infected as Japan considers bringing some people who test negative even on shore to keep them safe from further spread of the infection. Foreign Affairs Minister François-Philippe Champagne says consular officials are closely monitoring the situation.
While the mayor's executive committee is debating the 2020 budget at City Hall today, the $13.5 billion operating plan still requires about $77 million in federal funding for a number of items, including new affordable housing projects, sheltering refugees, and even fighting gun violence. Now, Mayor John Tory, though, says he's quietly confident that the city will get that cash.
I will say that I've received
$13,000, 17 more.
And I realize that I can't take those to the bank, but I was certainly very heartened by the fact that on all of those topics, the response of the federal government was positive.
When he says it means literally, the city's not allowed to issue bonds.
The city does have reserves to make the plan work. The proposed budget includes a property tax increase at the rate of inflation with an additional 2% hike to cover new capital projects. What it means for the average homeowner, though, is about an extra $128 this year.
The federal government is now reportedly making attempts to try and stop the anti-pipeline rail blockades. With more, here's our Parliament Hill reporter, Cormac McSweeney.
With rail service shut down in some major corridors, the federal Indigenous Services Minister has sent a letter to Mohawk protesters who have camped out along the rail lines near Belleville, Ontario. According to CBC, he's offering to meet with them and discuss their concerns if they end their 8-day demonstration. The Prime Minister has said he respects peaceful protests, but the rule of law must also be respected. It's up to the provinces to handle court injunctions, and the police have had a presence at those blockades. Both supporters and opponents of the demonstrations have called on the federal government to step in, supporters wanting an end to the arrests while opponents want to reopen the railways. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce is warning from propane to food to consumer goods, the country's supply chain has been severely disrupted by these protests. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
And the astronaut who set a record for women in space now says now that she's back on land, she's feeling pretty good.
About a week after coming back to Earth, after 328 days on the International Space Station, 41-year-old astronaut Christina Cook says,
my balance has taken a little while to get used to, so the physical act of walking was something to get used to, but I'm feeling great.
She says she has some muscle aches, but not the skin problems that others have reported, and says it is an adjustment, learning to live again with gravity, but she's on her way.
The first thing that I did after I went home was to reunite with my dog, which was wonderful. She was very excited, and then we took a family trip to the beach.
Cook's 10-plus months in space was the longest mission ever completed by a woman.
The longest walk ever. You didn't bring your fucking dog. Oh my God! You better not tell that dog that story. Oh my God! That dog's been so upset.
Let's ask Susan. Forget measly gardens. I grow my own forest. Okay, but Friday's Lotomax jackpot is $55 million, plus an estimated 4 max millions. As your dream coach, I say keep growing.
Ooh, with the waterfall, luxury tree houses for my friends, and instead of walking, we'll zip line everywhere.
Zip line dreams are my favorites. Friday's Lotomax jackpot is $55 million.
Zip in the fucking dog.
4 max millions. With draws Tuesdays and Fridays, you can dream to the max.
On city streets right now, northbound Yonge is backed up from approaching Summer Hill to St. Clair. It's all because of construction, and police are on the scene of a collision at Langstaff and Weston. You can expect lane restrictions at that intersection.
City Streets was brought to you by Don Valley North Toyota, proudly powering the 680 News Traffic Cruiser. Don Valley North Toyota, 50 vehicles inside, even more outside.
Get a fucking plane and a helicopter and shit.
Steele's just east of the 404.
You got a car. Why you how come you don't send that motherfucker out there and say, yeah, I'm right here. I'm stuck in traffic too. Damn.
$1.12.9 a liter.
680 News Time, 1240.
As we approach Family Day, Catholic secondary teachers of Dufferin Peel want to acknowledge children and youth who are struggling and feeling alone. The Kids Help Phone Services and Crisis Text Line are available to support them. As a national charity offering professional counseling, information, and services, Kids Help Phone wants a future where every young person will access the help they need. As teachers, we want that too. Catholic secondary teachers of Dufferin Peel recognize the important work of Kids Help Phone in supporting our students and youth across the country.
Honey, I need more spontaneity.
But we've been together so long.
Yes, but what about going to Miami this weekend?
With our card, we can't book last minute.
Then why do we have this?
That's what's losing. We're gonna have it.
Why?
Switch to RBC Avion and book at the last minute on any airline, any flight, anytime. And right now, start Avioning and get 35,000 welcome points to go anywhere in Canada or the U.S. Alaska and Hawaii require more points. Offer ends February 28, 2020. Conditions apply. Visit rbc.com/Avion35.
Avioning.
680 News Time, 12:41.
Time for traffic and weather together all the ones. Here's Carrie Pruskus. This report is brought to you by GTA Lexus Dealers Association. We have a new problem westbound on the 401 approaching Kiel in the Express. The right lane is blocked because of a stalled vehicle. So this just happened, that lane restriction. So the backup just building now westbound 401 as you approach Kiel in the Express.
You should send your news cruiser to help the motherfucker.
We have delays as
You
you
got
head
tow
through
truck
Kipling.
drivers. You got
Slows
guns,
again
eh?
from the 400 to east of Kiel in the Collectors, and a bit busy through Leslie in the Collectors as well. But aside from those delays, looks good. Eastbound 401 very lightly traveled heading into the Durham region. Southbound 404 Don Valley Parkway, that's busy from south of Finch onto the DVP to south of Lawrence. Westbound on the Gardner, a delay from the DVP to Cherry, but the westbound QEW very smooth driving through Mississauga, Oakville, and Burlington. Eastbound side of the QEW, that gets busy from Bronte to east of Third Line, but looks good on the eastbound Gardner into downtown. If you're heading northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's slow from Don Mills to north of Lawrence. And on city streets, Bayview remains closed in both directions between River and Lauren Harris for repairs to a broken water main. Lease a 2020 Lexus RX 350 for as low as 1.9% APR with total credits of up to $2,000. Visit your Toronto area Lexus dealer. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
How will I get there?
Well, temps falling just a little bit now at Pearson. We're down to -4, a wind chill of -10, winds out of the north, and some scattered light snowfall for the GTA on and off throughout the rest of this afternoon. We are expecting temperatures to plummet. Environment Canada issuing extreme cold warnings across the province. For us here in the GTA, on average, temperatures very close to -20 through the overnight tonight. Wind chills very close to -30. We will see some sunshine on Friday. Does not do much to warm things up. Highs only near -8. The average is closer to -2. Clear conditions for Friday night. We drop down to -12, which is an improvement from tonight's overnight lows. And by Saturday, we're going to break out of that extreme cold. But for the next couple of days, you need to brace yourselves for sure. The guaranteed high reached earlier this morning, +1.
680 News Time, 12:43.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute, live from the Business Center. Here's Stuart McGinn.
Sarah, we've been watching the pendulum slowly swing back the other way after we started the day kind of deep into the red. The TSX now just down by 13 points, 17,819. And the Dow, once down by more than 200, now lower by just 16.
Anybody handle my money that has all these poetic eloquent things to say about the money?
Lower by just 2 points. Commodities looking pretty good. A little mixture, though. The gold price of gold is up at $7.40 to $15.79 the ounce, while oil is up 42 cents to $51.60 a barrel, plus lowers the Canadian dollar by 175.43 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart McGinn.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get up to $1,500 cash and $6.99 pricing, or up to 500 free equity trades. Details at scotiaitrade.com/winter20.
At Canadian Men's Clinic, we've treated erectile dysfunction for 22 years. The big difference is we are patient-focused, not profit-focused. Our acoustic wave therapy can provide a cure for some men and costs only $99, while other clinics offer the exact same treatment for 5 times as much. Plus, some of our options cost as little as $5, and there's no consultation fee to see a doctor for ED. Find us at mensclinic.com or call 1-888-636-7377.
Your doctors and family agree that you can't work, and still your long-term disability insurer denies your claim. I know that the stress of the denied claim is making you worse. So what are you going to do? My name is Aaron Waxman, and if your insurer's denied your claim for any reason, call me at 416-661-4878. And don't worry about upfront legal fees, because there are none. At my law firm, my lawyers only get paid when you get paid. And before you call, you should always remember that there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at pound LTD.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
Some light snow in downtown Toronto. It's 0, feeling like -5. Good afternoon from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Sarah Parrott.
And I'm Steve Roberts. Here are the top stories right now.
Major subway problems continue for passengers on Line 1, the Young University Spadina line, after a maintenance train derailed early this morning. Service remains suspended between St. Clair West and Union stations, with shuttle buses running instead. The TTC says the derailed train lane has since been put back on the track, but officials say the closure will last a little longer.
Well, the province has held an update today on COVID-19. It's what we're calling coronavirus now, saying that there are no new cases in Ontario, but 15 people are still under investigation. Now, the update comes as the situation gets worse on a cruise ship in Japan, where 12 Canadians are among over 200 people diagnosed with the virus. In the meantime, China has announced a major spike in their cases with more than 48,000 people infected.
Well, some light snow today for Toronto and the GTA, but the real weather story today is the cold. The city of Toronto now under an extreme cold weather alert. The temperature will gradually drop throughout the day. When we wake up tomorrow, it's going to feel like minus 30.
And for these stories and more, you can always find them at 680news.com.
Time now for 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Andrew Nye.
Sarah Sheldon Keefe wants to see that Matthews-Marner Nylander line again tonight against the Stars and didn't want to base his decision on their last game.
Willie obviously coming off of his illness and everything, hadn't skated and they hadn't had much time together. So we want to give it a little bit of a bigger sample tonight.
Freddie Anderson will make the start while Michael Hutchinson has been waived. Jason Robertson, older brother of Leafs prospect Nick, will make his NHL debut, while his teammate and Toronto native Andrew Cogliano will play in his 1,000th game. 7 o'clock puck drop, Sportsnet 590 The Fan and Sportsnet. Swing and a miss by the Astros today. Owner Jim Crane said, in their opinion, the sign-stealing scandal didn't impact the game. ESPN's Marley Rivera then asked, what exactly are you apologizing for?
Apologizing because we broke the rules.
But isn't sign stealing a distinct advantage for the hitter, so doesn't it automatically impact competition?
It could possibly do that. It can possibly not.
And up to round 1 of the Genesis Invitational, Canada's Corey
Just
Connors
like
is
not
even
look
through
when they're
7.
throwing
Roger
signs or
Sloan
something.
even through 5 there.
Just
4
can't
back
figure out how to
later.
throw signs that other people can't
Lee
read.
goes 4 under through 12.
What is wrong with you?
Nick Taylor, who won last week, will tee off
You
at
need electronic, digital
3:13.
electronic.
And
What,
just
what are
before
we
that,
fucking
Tiger
talking
Woods
about?
at
Keep meaning to look it up.
2:41. Sports at
Battery
15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
My favorite part of winter is the blinding snow and the treacherous road conditions. It's so much fun. Invigorating even. It feels so alive.
Said no one ever. Be weather ready with the Toyota RAV4. With 10 different models to choose from, now's the time to Toyota. Lease the 2020 RAV4 all-wheel drive LE for as low as $103 weekly at 5.49% APR for 48 months with $0 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Ontario Toyota dealer for details. Some conditions apply.
Let's see. Coffee at 9:30. Read for a while on the terrace. Take Luna for a walk. Join the girls downstairs for a wine tasting after lunch.
From Elizabeth's perspective, this is senior living. At Amica, when you're ready, let Amica Senior Lifestyles get to know you so we can create a personalized senior living experience to support your unique needs, even as those needs change. Learn more at amica.ca. Private tours available.
This is All News Radio 680 News. It's 12:49. The Supreme Court of Canada will revisit the decision of courts here in Ontario and BC that found the federal law allowing prolonged solitary confinement in prison was unconstitutional. More from Terry Pedwell of the Canadian Press.
Although it has contested the appeal court decisions, the federal government brought in new legislation it said would end the practice of segregating prisoners who pose risks to security or themselves. Measures that human rights organizations have criticized as insufficient. The Supreme Court also said today it will hear cross appeals from civil liberties groups in each case that argue the provincial decisions didn't go far enough.
As usual, the Supreme Court gave no reasons for agreeing to hear the cases. Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll check in with traffic and weather. 680 News Time, 12:50.
Buying a new home? Then Caitlin Homes has a variety of innovative incentive offers for you. Choose from a selection of Caitlin inventory homes and offers that best suit your unique needs, like 0% interest, exclusive Caitlin Homes rebates up to $40,000, or one of the rent-to-own programs. Yes, you can own a new home in Bowmanville, but these incentives won't last long. Limited inventory available. For more details, visit CaitlinCorp.com. Certain conditions apply.
The Jaguar Impeccable Timing Sales event is on now, which means it's the perfect time to enjoy exceptional offers on most Jaguar vehicles, including the award-winning F-Pace Performance SUV, the agile E-Pace Compact SUV, and the powerful F-Type sports car. On any Jaguar vehicle of your choice, receive your first 3 lease payments on us, or take advantage of savings up to $9,000 on select models. Visit the Jaguar display at the Canadian
Going out for a maintenance plan?
for details. Timing is
There's a reason for that.
680 News Time, 12:51.
Take care of like drivetrain and shit. No, we don't do that. It's Jaguar.
This report is brought to you by Home Show Home Improvement Edition. Westbound on the 401, that problem approaching Kiel and the Express has cleared away. Now it looks like delays westbound 401 are building from the 404 to Leslie and the Express. Then it's heavy from the Allen to approaching Kiel and the Express. That's where that problem cleared. And then heading into Mississauga, delays are now building approaching here Ontario and the collectors over to Mavis. Eastbound 401, that's getting busy from Mississauga Road to Mavis. And then a delay as you approach Kipling. It also slows eastbound 401 through Kiel and the collectors and approaching Leslie and the collectors. Southbound on the 404 Don Valley Parkway, that's busy from south of Finch onto the DVP to south of Lawrence. And the westbound Gardner only slow from the DVP to Cherry. So other than that, we're doing well on the Gardner. And the QEW, that's lightly traveled in both directions. Looks like eastbound traffic is just slowing a little bit just east of Third Line. Now, don't forget that Bayview, it is still closed in both directions towards the bottom. From River to Lauren Harris, all lanes shut down. That's all for broken water main repairs, and it's not scheduled to reopen until around 5 o'clock this afternoon. So there's still a few hours to go, and in the meantime, River is starting to get pretty backed up in both directions. So just expect extra volume on River as a result of that closure. The GTA Home and Reno Show has renovated, so don't miss the new Home Show Home Improvement Edition, February 14th to 17th at the International Center in Mississauga, presented by RE/MAX. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andreacci.
The light snow tapering to flurries, and then we should start to dry up this evening. We're expecting partly cloudy skies overnight as extreme cold dips south and really just blankets the province of Ontario. We're already seeing very dangerously cold temperatures in through the northern part of the province. And by tonight, we're expected to plummet to near -20 for much of the GTA. Extreme cold warnings are in effect, and they'll likely remain in effect through part of the day on Friday. Highs only near -8 tomorrow, mainly sunny. Clear conditions Friday night, lows near -12. Light snow falling at Pearson, -4. We're sitting at 0 downtown Toronto. The guaranteed high reached this morning, +1.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Scotiabank. Investments feeling stuck? They don't need to be. Book an appointment with a Scotiabank advisor to energize your investing, because your investments can stand for so much more when they don't stand still.
The Princess Margaret Home Lottery is here, featuring an incredible $6.8 million grand prize, our biggest ever. A $5.2 million show home built by Green Park Group with interior design by Sarah Baumler, a lakefront cottage, and $500,000 cash. Homes, cottages, condos, cars, and more. It's one big prize after another. Support one of the top 5 cancer research centers in the world. Buy now at PrincessMargaretLotto.com.
At 680 News, we know weather.
And we guarantee it.
If we're off by more than 3 degrees, we'll announce a lucky winner of our growing cash jackpot.
Now, get more chances to win each month and vacation better with Sunwing.
Enter in February for your chance to win an all-inclusive vacation for 2 at the Rio Playa Blanca in Panama.
Enjoy luxurious beachside lounging and breathtaking panoramic views.
Enter the 680 News weather guarantee with Sunwing
at Rio Hotels and Resorts
at 680news.com.
Coming up in business news in 60 seconds, stocks giving back after a losing start to the day.
680 News Time, 12:55.
Hey, John, how's your business doing?
Numero uno.
I don't understand. I thought you said your business needed help getting more customers.
Numero uno.
What do you mean, numero uno?
I mean, the team at Numero Uno helped turn my business around. With their simple online strategies, I have more leads, more customers, and more sales than ever.
Sounds like the Numero Uno team really know their stuff.
That's why they're Numero Uno.
To see how Numero Uno can get your business more customers, visit numerounoweb.com today. That's numerounoweb.com.
You don't buy office chairs from the back of a truck, get suits from the Dollar Mart. Reuse yesterday's coffee, buy an office that's falling apart. Don't hire an intern as your CEO, raccoons to clear your trash. Treat clients to a fast food lunch, you dial up to save some cash. You get what you pay for
work. So be careful what you choose. Use the original HP toner. And just can't lose. 100% reliable, environmentally responsible. Always trust original HP toner.
680 News Time, 12:56.
Now the 680 News Business Report brought to you by Quest Trade. Here's Stuart McGinn.
Sarah, U.S. President Donald Trump is rebranding MAGA to preach the success of American stocks. A photo has been released of Trump in a meeting in the Oval Office from earlier this week. He held up a sign with the word MAGA on it, abbreviated to spell out 4 companies that have joined the $1 trillion club. So now MAGA spells out Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Google was the latest member to hit the $1 trillion mark.
How fucking weird is that?
Spell out Trump's acronym. But funnily enough, Google's parent companies listed on the stock exchange as Alphabet. So spelling out MAGA doesn't necessarily work. It more just spells out Ma, and that's maybe what investors of Google's parent company Alphabet are saying if they're looking at the stock.
Yeah, but nobody knows what the fuck Alphabet Club is. We know what Google is. Come on. That's a technicality.
Netflix is announcing.
You never say, fucking, I'm going to go Alphabet something, do you?
But only if
your
you've
friends
got a
will think there's
Samsung
something wrong with
Galaxy
your head.
smartphone, according to Forbes. The content will consist of interviews and behind-the-scenes footage from Netflix original series. It'll only be shot using Samsung's new Galaxy S20 as part of the deal. Any Galaxy phone user will receive pop-up recommendations of shows Netflix thinks they might like. But if you have an iPhone or any other type of smartphone, none of this content is going to be accessible to you. Netflix stock today is up, but only 0.6% to $382. After a more positive tone Wednesday regarding coronavirus, analysts were suggesting that the worst in terms of the financial impacts of the illness might have been in the rearview mirror. Well, we started off the day in the red because China started using a different method to diagnose the illness, and a bunch more confirmed infections popped up in that country. Markets were starting, like I said, with steep declines to start the day. But now things getting back a little bit, the pendulum swinging the other way. The TSX and most of Wall Street still lower. The TSX lower by 19, 17,813. The Dow's off by 72, but it started the day lower by more than 200 points. Right now at 29,479. The S&P's off by 1. The NASDAQ off by just 10, and the S&P and NASDAQ have been flirting with positive territory today. Gold up $7.20.
We've been noticing quite a few times. It's up or down by 1 fucking point.
At 75.43 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart.
One day it was a fraction of a point, day over day.
We have an update now after being closed since about 6 this morning. A large portion of Line 1, the Young University Spadina line, has finally reopened between St. Clair West and Union stations. Again, service has resumed on Line 1 between St. Clair West and Union.
Hey, the bank called today about our
The bus is finally here, though.
I thought we decided to move them over to Quest Trade.
Well, we've got a lot on our plate right now.
We can't wait another year. The lower fees could mean over 100,000 more for us, for her, for our future.
For that.
Oh, we're so close to the top now. I might as well listen.
Save your retirement. See how you can retire wealthier with the Quest Wealth Portfolio's RRSP at QuestTrade.com.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for Walmart.
Now at Walmart, save 93 cents on Lancia pasta. Now only 74 cents. That's another reason why grocery bills are lower at Walmart. In Ajax right now, some snow, it's -2. In Milton, some light snow, -1. Uxbridge, cloudy sky, it's -3 there. In Hamilton, light snow and 0. Same conditions for Niagara Falls. Downtown Toronto, it's lightly snowing and 0 feels like -5. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR
It's very deceptive. This Canadian weather is very, around here, it's very deceptive.
Traffic and weather. This is 680 News. Toronto.
Here are Steve Roberts and Sarah Parrott.
Good afternoon. This is Thursday, the 13th of February.
Good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour.
Happening right now, subway service has resumed on the TTC's line number 1 between St. Clair West and Union Station. We will have the very latest for you coming up.
No new cases of COVID-19 in Ontario, but 12 Canadians now sick on a cruise ship in Japan. 3 of them hospitalized as China reports a big spike in the number of cases with a new testing system. As anti-pipeline rail blockades continue
continue across the country, the federal Indigenous Services Minister has reached out to some protesters to try and set up a meeting and end the demonstrations.
Brittany Anderson makes the start when the Leafs host Dallas tonight, and we'll head to Blue Jays camp and check in with Charlie Montoyo's Sports at 15.
The last of Bombardier's connection to aviation is now sold, and the rumors regarding the company's future are swirling. We've got the Dow down 83 points.
Monsieur, je besoin de Q400. Et non, that's the song.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. And with Toronto's most frequent traffic reports, Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Mark Feldstein and Associates. If you're traveling the northbound Don Valley Parkway, it's busy with a lot of volume from Don Mills to north of Lawrence. But once you're up onto the northbound 404, that's where you're continuing your journey. No problems on that route, so it's a good drive. Westbound on the 401, that looks great across the city. We had an earlier problem approaching Keele in the Express, and it looks like all delays have eased off. Now, it is busy heading into Mississauga as you approach here Ontario and the collectors to about Mavis, but once you're west of Mavis, it's wide open. Eastbound 401, just a minor delay as you head through Kipling, and then again from Bayview to Leslie, that's mainly in the collectors. Southbound on the 404 Don Valley Parkway, that gets slow from south of Finch onto the 401 ramps, and some volume kicking around still southbound on the DVP from south of York Mills to south of Lawrence. Westbound on the Gardner, just a delay from the DVP to Cherry as you head into that construction area. But other than that, the westbound Gardner is in great shape, and the QEW is smooth sailing in both directions. In town, Bayview remains closed in both directions between River and Lauren Harris. And this is all for repairs to a broken water main. So just expect heavier volume on River as a result. For all your personal and corporate tax accounting needs, call Mark Feldstein and Associates, Chartered Professional Accountants. Really? Call from your mobile now at Pound Tax or online at markfeldstein.ca. And now with the forecast,
I'm desperate, but I still have a cell phone, but I don't want to pay any money for the phone call. What kind of situation is that?
-5. The scattered light
You might
snow
trip me out of a
tapering
couple
and flurries
grand.
and
Is that
eventually
that type
tapering
of
off this
customer?
evening. We're expecting partly cloudy skies overnight. Extreme cold
What's this
warnings
like
have been
looking?
issued by Environment Canada.
this
We're
one's doing it
already
too.
seeing
Spots and
just
speckles all
incredibly
over.
cold temperatures across northern Ontario. That cold sinking south, and we are expected to be close to -20 for much of the GTA overnight. Wind chill closer to -30.
They
Right now
said
at Pearson
20, I
Airport,
think
it's
they said 20, and they
-4.
said
We
30
reached
on
your
the
guaranteed
fucking
high
phone.
early this morning, +1.
680 News Time, 103.
Zero set to that is +1 to 0 to
Happening
-1.
right now on
-30.
line number 1, Young University Spadina line service is now back up and running on that busy stretch of the subway
Oh, you could
between
just stick
St.
to
Clair
the car,
West
right?
and Union
-20. So it's
after
going
a
to start.
maintenance car derailed at St. George early this morning, putting thousands onto shuttle buses.
680's Moment Qureshi is at St. George Station. He joins us live with the very latest. Moment.
Sarah, almost 8 hours after the partial derailment led to the shutdown of part of the Line 1 between St. Clair West and Union Station, the CTC says service is now back up and running on that line, but shuttle buses will continue to run for the time being as they get those service levels back up, because they have to get all the trains back on the track, and it does take some time to get the number of trains needed for this time of day up and running. But I'm standing here at St. George Station. I see people heading downstairs. There's no more lineups for shuttle buses, which there has been for most of the day here. So the CTC says Line 1 that had been without service between St. Clair West and Union is now back up and running. The shuttle buses will run at least for a little bit
know how to line up.
while they get service back up and running. We'll have more. I'm expecting to hear from the TTC in the next little while to get an update on exactly what happened, what the problem was, and how they can avoid it in the future. Reporting live, I'm Omen Qureshi.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. It's now 107.
How are they derailing cars? I don't understand. They're on rails. There's nothing there to hit.
COVID-19 cases in this province.
Not even a piece of garbage
like
cases
cases
should
in
be able to get on
China
there. It's all
continues to
covered.
climb exponentially. And we're also hearing today that a dozen Canadians or more confirmed to be sick on board a cruise ship in Japan. Now, our Alex Bloomfield has been following all the developments for us. Joins us live now with the latest details. Alex.
Yes, Steve, no change in COVID-19 numbers here in Ontario.
15 are currently under investigation, and we have 2 confirmed positive and another one that has resolved.
Communicable disease expert Dr. Barbara Yaffe says the 2 remaining patients are the original 2, the married couple from the GTA who are now largely symptom-free, but traces of the virus still found in their lab samples. Meantime, in Japan, the situation getting worse. On the quarantine cruise ship, 44 new cases, 12 Canadians now among the sick. Foreign Affairs Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne says 3 Canadians are receiving treatment for more serious symptoms.
We know that there's some people who need, medications on board. They want to have contact with their family. We're facilitating that. We have 2 emergency response team in Yokohama.
Video cameras,
coast of Cambodia with over 250 Canadians on board, though no one has tested positive yet. Meantime, China announcing a big jump in the number of cases overnight, though it's largely being attributed to using CT scans as opposed to lab testing to confirm new cases.
How easy would it be for them to raid all these warehouses and shit and just fucking hook every fucking one of these places up with cameras?
The federal government is now taking steps to try and bring an end to the anti-pipeline rail blockades that have effectively shut down rail service through some critical corridors.
Both supporters and opponents of these blockades have been calling on the federal government to step in to resolve these standoffs. And now the Indigenous Services Minister has sent a letter to Mohawk demonstrators blocking a major rail line in Ontario. Mark Miller is requesting a meeting with protesters on Saturday to discuss their concerns. In exchange, he asked them to halt their demonstrations. It's not yet clear if they'll accept. Meanwhile, Ryan Greer with the Canadian Chamber of Commerce tells me these blockades are severely disrupting Canada's supply chain and hurting businesses.
They're losing sales, curtailing production, and having to make challenging business decisions.
A new poll from the Angus Reid Institute finds just over half of Canadians are in support of the pipeline, while 2 in 5 support the protesters. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
The Mayor's Executive Committee meeting is holding a debate today over the 2020
half the Canadians don't know what the fuck the purpose of the pipeline is.
Operating plan still
They're going to sell gas to China.
$77 million
How,
in federal funding, and that funding is to
how
cover
fucking
things like
stupid is
affordable
that
housing
sound?
projects,
They spent $4.5 billion on a $0.5 billion pipeline that
says
has
he
been
is
built
quietly
yet.
confident the city
Which
will
one are we
get that
talking about?
cash.
There's 2 or 3 of these
I've
motherfuckers.
received a lot of positive comments.
They're going to sell gas to China. How?
But I was certainly very heartened.
Russia already ran a pipeline to China. Gazprom, today. China might build the facility. I don't think it's going to happen now.
Increase at the rate of
I don't think they can
inflation
spare
with
the
an
workers
additional
now.
2% hike to cover new capital projects. Full council, though, will have a look at this plan and hopefully approve it one way or another coming up next Wednesday.
An Oakville doctor already accused of sexually assaulting one of his patients is facing another charge, and investigators think there could be more possible victims. The latest allegation against 59-year-old Clarence Claudy involves a woman who claims she was assaulted between 2013 and 2016 when Claudy worked at Bristol Family Physicians in Oakville. Claudy was first arrested 3 months ago related to allegations he sexually assaulted another woman who was his patient.
This is 680 News. This portion of 680 News now brought to you today by the Herzig Eye Institute. Well, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and of course it does present an opportunity to people to express their love one way or another, especially if they really care about somebody. But it's also a chance, believe it or not, if you've been wronged, to reach out in another way.
The rules of the El Paso Zoo's Quit Bugging Me promotion are pretty simple.
You give us a name of someone that's bugging you. It could be an ex-spouse, a boss, anybody really. And then we assign it to a cockroach, which then gets fed to our animals.
El Paso Zoo Director Joe
assign it to a
says the
cockroach, you
fundraiser
name
has a
a
new
cockroach
twist this
after
year.
the person.
For every $1,000 that we get donated, I have to eat a bug.
With $9,000 raised so far, Montesano will have to eat at least 9 cockroaches tomorrow. Happy Valentine's Day and bon appetit.
Thank you.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Listen, don't you be getting a cockroach named after me now.
Well,
For $1,000, I want you to follow that motherfucker around and keep going. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. That's what I want you to do for $1,000. Don't eat a fucking cockroach. Forget the cockroaches.
Got those details ahead.
680 News Time, 109.
Hi, I'm Cherry Tab,
I
co-founder
don't care
of
if
the
it's going to
Herzig Eye
charity. You give me
Institute,
something more than
and
that.
we do vision correction on chickens. It's true. Afterwards, when they're not feeling chicken anymore, they always say, I don't know why I was so nervous. That was
Where's
so
PETA on
easy.
this cockroach eating
Thank
thing?
you. Thank you for
Yeah,
holding
animals
my
eat
hand
bugs, right?
and answering my questions and taking such good care of me. So what are you waiting for? Google high definition vision. Learn about Herzig.
Every time I hear
Call us
PETA,
for a
I say,
consultation.
whoa.
There's no charge. Look after yourself. Promise me.
680 News, Toronto.
On city streets right now, Finch is reduced to
I'm going to say whatever I want about PETA. I don't care if they don't like me. They say one thing about me. I'm going to leave it. Fuck off.
City Streets was brought to you by Pemberton Group.
Go ahead and say what you want.
Condominium
Convenience
I'm just
Townhomes
pointing
and
out it might
Lots
not
in
be the best
Stouffville,
PR move.
a luxury ravine community by Pemberton Group, one of Canada's most reliable developers. Visit pembertongroup.com
I'll call
to learn
race and
more.
everything.
And now the
Don't even
680
joke.
News gas price update. Might want to consider filling up the tank on your way home tonight. Enpro says the price of gas going to go up 3 cents at midnight tonight to $1.12.9.
680 News Time 110. With Intact Insurance, you can get rewarded for being a good driver. No, really. The better you drive, the more you save. Seriously. You could get up to 30% off your car insurance with My Drive. No. Please keep your hands on the wheel. Intact Insurance. The insurance you dream of. If you dream of insurance, get a quote on intact.ca or talk to your broker. Certain conditions and exclusions apply.
As we approach Family Day, Catholic secondary teachers of Dufferin Peel want to acknowledge children and youth who are struggling and feeling alone. The Kids Help Phone Services and Crisis Text Line are available to support them. As a national charity offering professional counseling, information, and services, Kids Help Phone wants a future where every
My
young
skin's
person
gonna
will
think it's
access the
minus
help they
30.
need. As
Your
teachers
car
know about
battery's gonna
that
think it's
truth,
minus
Catholic
20.
secondary teachers of Dufferin Peel recognize the important work of Kids Help Phone in supporting
You're
our
gonna learn the
students and youth
definition of
across
cold
the
cranky
country.
nips.
680 News Time 111.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Audi Queensway. Heading northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, we have volume delays from Don Mills to north of Lawrence, but no problems through that stretch, and the northbound 404 is lightly traveled. Eastbound on the 401, that's filling in as you approach
What am I,
Kipling
not
to the
ending it? What
400,
happened?
mainly in the express, and then it bunches up again as you head through Leslie and the collectors. Pretty quiet
What did I
right now
just
on the
do?
eastbound 401 heading through the Durham region. Southbound 404
I can just
Don
leave it
Valley
running.
Parkway, that's slow as you approach the 401 ramps.
I'll be
And
back in a
still
few
bit of volume
hours.
southbound on the
Listen to the
DVP from
radio.
York Mills to south of
the most
Lawrence.
efficient way to
Westbound
do it.
Gardner, looks like delays have eased off, at least for the time
I
being.
don't
It's only a
understand. I
little
can
bit
still
busy
see everything
as
else
you
working
approach
except
Cherry as
this
you're coming off the
pop-up
southbound
that says
DVP.
and.
And that's all because of that construction that's been going on. QEW westbound
dear.
traffic, that's
What
starting
the
to fill in
fuck?
from the Ford plant to Trafalgar Road, but eastbound on the QEW, that's very lightly traveled, and it looks good eastbound on the Gardner heading into downtown. In town, Bayview remains closed in both directions between River and Lauren Harris. That's all for repairs to a broken water main, set to reopen around 5 o'clock this afternoon. And traffic spotters telling me about some hydro work on Finch at Kiel. It's reduced to a single lane, so heavy delays in both directions along Finch as you approach Kiel, and also some more hydro work eastbound on Finch at Chesswood. The right lane is closed, so heavy backup approaching that lane restriction as well. Take winter by storm. Enjoy up to an $8,000 Audi Quattro